Boogie Beatdown coming at you. Paul, Cody, UFC 328. We're at a bit of a crossroads. We were talking about before. If you're just showing up for the first time in 2 weeks, I have won the last two Shuey challenges.
That's true.
Because Cody was, I don't want to feed my boy. And his boys, the guys that he didn't want to fade his boy, but he did fade his boy in Carlos Prates and Davey Grant have won the last 2 weeks. But I was saying in the Bookie Beatdown Discord, if you're interested in joining that, hanging out with us, chatting up fights and, and a lot of regionals and stuff like that on a weekly basis, link is in the description for that. You'll find me over there howling at the moon a lot of the times. I was saying after what Tai Tuivasa did to us, Shoeys should be canceled moving forward. I would still make you do your two Shoeys, but then the bit's over. It's dead. It's gone. Your thoughts?
Well, maybe we just do it like till the end of the season, because at this current trend, you are going to get me down to 6. Once I'm at 6, it's 6-pack Saftic and 6 Shoeys in the small hour time frame that we do this show. Or maybe it'll be a 2-hour show that week. I'll be coming in with some greasy takes, all boy. But Tai Tuivasa, 7-fight winning streak. Haven't seen him do a Shoey in years. For us, the Shoey fade started to slowly dissipate into the darkness, but it's still kind of our thing, It's still kind of a good way to like add a little layer of bet. I remember like years back we do karaoke bets. It's like if you lose, you got to do this embarrassing video, but then you'd win them against people not to be named, and they wouldn't pay up. And do you want to be doing a karaoke bet every couple of weeks? No, you don't. So the Shoey's like simple enough.
Karaoke bet, that was it.
That was the thing. I believe you did a rendition of Aqua.
Barbie Girl?
Or was no, Dr. Jones. It was Dr. Jones. Yeah. Great album, if we're being honest. But that's neither here nor there. We got UFC 328. And again, from a fan standpoint, from an entertainment standpoint, if you sit here thinking to yourself, I am a fight fan, I would watch fights with no action on them. I like fights. A purist standpoint. This is absolutely loaded card. The prelims feature guys like Joel Alvarez and Yaroslav Amosov, Roman Kopylov, Marco Tulio, Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon. It's absolutely loaded. It's just, from a betting standpoint, most of the favorites are where they should be. The guys that you do like are a little too valued, and finding those key underdogs is a little bit difficult. The ones that you do like, that you have that faith, and again, they're going to be greasy underdogs. You're not betting them because you think they win 90% of the time and they're plus money. You're betting them because you think they win 55% of the time and they're plus money. So, yeah, it's not lost on me that the results haven't exactly been spectacular. So, every week I come on here and I do my due diligence and I do my tape research and I outline the guys I like the most and I set up myself a hedge option. And then I don't take the hedge option because I'm down to one line come the main event. And Jack Della proceeds to take an absolute beating of epic proportions. So it's not lost on me, and there's nothing I can do other than just keep at it and eventually get those reads. So this is another card that I'm glad to break down with you. You tell me what you see, and maybe I won't be fading some of my boys, such as Carlos Prates and Davey Grant. Not fading because I don't like them, just, maybe I'm a little bit too in my own head. So anyways, back to basics, back to making the right read, back to getting the right call, back to hitting some parlays, Paul Shaughnessy.
I'll be listening for when you're like, he's my boy, but that's the sign of like, do I like that other guy? Do I hop on that other guy?
I don't think I got any guys I would say are my boy. I like a lot of guys I like, but knowing that it's like, that's my guy that I always ride with. Other than this one time, I'm randomly going to fade him and then boom, right in my face, blown up.
PRPs are hard, man. Like you went like 4 for 5 on like your straight props that you posted. Your top line hit, or no, your top line didn't hit.
Top line on PFL hit, which was plus 140. And I'm not sitting here trying to make excuses, but it's like, yeah, if you can hit a top line, if you can hit plus money, then you're going to be happy. The props were good, but I know you probably don't have time, but like if you were to go Khabib Nurmagomedov, best fight odds, just random example.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it the other day, right? This is Khabib's odds. He was plus money against Kamal Shaloruz. He was plus money against Gleison Tebow. He's minus 150 against Thiago Tavares. Minus 350 against Abel Trujillo. This guy's now 3-0 in the UFC and coming off wins over Thiago Tavares, Gleison Tebow, and Kamal Shaloruz. A step down in competition, and he's only minus 350. He wins it. He's only a minus 260 favorite against Pat Healy. Then he's only a minus 175 favorite against Rafael Dos Anjos. despite winning all those 6 fights, he opens up, he goes off at minus 700 against Daryl Horcher. Double barrel Daryl. He's only a minus 700 favorite. His very next fight, he fought Michael Johnson. He was a minus 350 favorite. So that was the era where PRPs were easy, man. You could just outline 3 or 4 guys that you knew were going to win. And because they were coming in at minus 260, minus 270, it only took 2 guys to give you plus money on a parlay. Once you got hitting your 4s and your 6s, you're good. That don't happen anymore. Now you're looking at these cards and you get Ateba Gautier minus 1,000, minus 1,800. You get guys that are minus 1,000, minus 2,000. They don't want you to touch the big favorites. So you go digging for a guy that is closer to even money. He's closer to minus 200. You don't love him, but you got to get some value. And, you know, looking at Khabib's best fight odds, you can look at the same thing with John Jones. Like, you never got a non-playable line on John Jones. Like, every time he fought, it was still less than minus 600. And yet he's the greatest of all time. Khabib is one of the greatest of all time. He's undefeated in the UFC. He was minus 245 against Conor McGregor. Then he was minus 240 against Dustin Poirier. And even against Justin Gaethje, minus 350. The last fight of his career, he's only a minus 500 favorite. But you can just see how, you know, those post-COVID era, 2000 to 2003, 2004, it's like things were just lined way better for parlays. Now the bookies have clearly caught on. We talk about regional show action because we break down all these regionals, and they got you down to $100 limits. And they don't open up parlays until like a few hours before the event, so that you can't put your Friday night stuff with your Saturday night stuff. They don't open up the Friday stuff until, and then when Friday opens, Saturday's still closed. From a UFC perspective, it's like the big favorites that they do not want you putting action on are just unbettable lines, right? And then even the guys that they are bettable, like a Susurkaev, he's just so overvalued. It's like, I can't put this guy in the top line. And then if I do, he ends up losing or ends up not looking good or whatever the case may be. So I know we talked before the show. It's just like I'm just having one of those days where I'm complaining about things. So that's all I'm doing. I'm sitting here complaining that the bookies got way sharper because they got tired of getting their asses handed to them. So, you know, as the bettor, we just got to adjust as well. Our parlay is dead. Is it worth doing shorter parlays? Is it worth trying to go your 5-on-6 on straight bets and props? Is it better to maybe put 2 props together and parlay that instead? You know, all different questions that I got to ask myself. But no, that's the journey of life. That's the journey through this game. And fortunately, we have a nice UFC 328 offering that provides a perfect opportunity to get back on track. I got to do the work. I got to get the right call.
Hey, bud, I'm a shoulder to cry on. If you need anybody,
that's why you're here, buddy.
That's what I'm here for. Trust me, I get it. Yeah, it's a lot harder, like just jamming favorites together these days. Yeah, I mean, when we get to the Gautier fight, it's just like, you know, there's nobody on earth who loves Gautier more than me. It's just like, well, what am I? I got burned by the under last time. Has Gautier learned how to throw a left hook? Because if he knew how to throw a left hook and keep Pullaev from circling to that side over and over and over, that fight never would have went the distance or go to the 3rd round or get over the 1.5, which like cost me a barrel. And now we're looking for him to, you know, it's the same price as it was kind of like that fight. Is he going to get the finish? Yeah, probably, but the market says he's going to get the finish. But we start with the main event. I mean, what a hell of a card. We've got Sean Strickland taking on Khamzat Chimaev for the middleweight title of the world. Chimaev, a minus 600 favorite to come back on Strickland, plus 425. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel here. Khamzat Chimaev, especially the first 2.5 minutes, is just like, there's really nobody that can stop the hell that is the fury, the hell and the fury that is coming your way. He's too fast, too athletic. The entries to the takedowns are too strong. His ability to manipulate you against the fence if he wants to, like, you know, wrist ride, everything like that is too strong. And against Drickus, I guess, last time out there, like, he went to positions that's just like, he's not throwing very much stuff, but it's like he knew how to get to positions, side control and stuff like that, where it's just like, they're not going to stand you up from those positions. So even if you're not active throwing ground and pound, like, you're just killing minutes and stuff. like that.
He is throwing ground and pound though. Like he only landed 37 significant strikes, but he landed 529 total strikes. It's all ground and pound. It's little tiny shots that are adding up, as opposed to people like big elbows, people like big hammer fists, people like big fight ending shots, which he wasn't doing. But from every position, he's smashing them. Smash. Mostly insignificant pitter patter type shots, which I'm sure he's going to be looking to do here as well.
And these guys have obviously trained together over the course of their time in Vegas, especially when Chimaev was there with Till. Remember when Till and Chimaev were like
brothers?
They were like Dumb and Dumber, essentially, traveling the world, traveling MMA. So yeah, they've trained a little bit together. There's obviously Eric Nixick will have some ideas of maybe what worked back then, but a lot of things have changed. Like Chimaev went through like a health scare and stuff after that. Chimaev's not anywhere close to the same person. What do I think the most likely outcome is? Like, I think Chimaev in the first 2 rounds probably ragdolls Strickland around like he does to everybody, and maybe gets a sub. If he doesn't, because you know me, I'm a bit of a psycho, a little bit like Sean Strickland. If he doesn't, these long props, 47-1, 40-1 on round 4 and 5. It's just like, if we get to round 4, I want those in my pocket. The pick, I suppose, is Chimaev by sub. Chimaev by sub is pretty short. It's like, it's already back down to minus money. I'm not back. I don't know if it's 50-50 that he gets Strickland out of there. Strickland, just had a matchup last time out there against Fluffy Hernandez where, the conventional wisdom is that, Fluffy is just a different level of grappling. It's like, Fluffy couldn't really do anything. I think Chimaev is tiers above that. But if I was forced to pick a money line, I guess I would pick Strickland. But, I just don't see any reason to invest at this point in the week when it's like he's very likely after the first 3 minutes, if you're able to bet live, it's going to be like plus 600, plus 700, maybe even more. Your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think that if you're going to live bet it, you may go Sean Strickland in those later rounds if you think that Khamzat Chimaev is going to tire out. If you're watching the fight live and Khamzat Chimaev is just going to easy positions and not exerting himself, then there's no reason to believe that he would tire out. It's just, what approach is he going to take? Now, and you look back him versus Gilbert Burns, or say him versus Kamaru Usman. Those are 2 fights where it's like he's not really looking to pace himself. He's going out there and he's slugging it out with them. Him versus Burns is a wild back and forth fight where he's using a lot more striking. But again, Gilbert Burns, who's a very undersized welterweight, he's kind of backing him up at times, getting him up against the cage, landing some decent shots. His fight with Kamaru Usman, he got 4 takedowns, but he really had to work for them, tires himself out. The longer it goes, this guy's tired. Now, those both are respectively 3-round fights. If they were 5-round fights, I honestly don't know that he'd be able to go that either. But since then, he's definitely changed his approach a little bit. Like the fight with Robert Whittaker. It's okay. Well, Robert Whittaker's a world-class guy who once qualified for the Commonwealth team and can wrestle and certainly has that back class and has a striking advantage. Has fought 5 rounds many times and has been in there with better wrestlers than Khamzat Chimaev, like when he fought Yoel Romero. Why couldn't a guy like Robert Whittaker just take him to those later rounds and then maybe expose him? But you saw with Chimaev, it's like quick takedown, get the back take. If he has to single hip ride you, he'll do that. If he can get both hooks in, then he's going to do that. But it's not like you're saying, it's not really doing much from these positions. He's just kind of doing the bare minimum to stay busy. You're not going to stand him up. He's in a dominant position, but he doesn't have to overexert himself. So that Whittaker fight, I thought he did an excellent job at, it only lasted 3.5 minutes. He didn't really do anything to that point. So now that Dricus Du Plessis fight, well, if you want to look at MMA math and the common opponent, Dricus fought Sean Strickland. Dricus fought him twice, but certainly that first fight, he took him down 6 times. And Dricus proved that he was a better wrestler than Sean Strickland. Yep. Chimaev goes in with the approach of, we've trained together. We've sparred together. I've seen your little teep kick up the middle. I've seen your death by 1,000 cuts. I've seen the jab over and over and over. I know your style. I don't want to deal with it. I'm just going to shoot takedowns and take you down. Then I think it becomes really problematic for Sean Strickland that he'll probably get the takedowns, not exert himself, and then where is this wild brawl? I actually did back Fluffy Hernandez that last time out against Sean Strickland, believing he definitely had a grappling advantage. He has a cardio advantage. Maybe not cardio advantage, but they both had good cardio. certainly as good of cardio as Sean Strickland, could keep the pace. And the guy shoots 10 takedowns a fight. He shoots 15 takedowns a fight. He gets half of them, constantly is threatening with the submission. But against Sean Strickland, he shot one single takedown.
Yeah.
That was it. He didn't even try to get the fight to the ground.
That's wild. Is somebody in his ear?
Well, that's what I'm sour grapes Cody complaining about the state of things. But it's like these guys can't be trusted to take the path of least resistance. They just don't do it anymore. Back when it was like, oh yeah, they're controlling control time over damage, then yeah, you could back some old-timey stock wrestler to go out there, shoot blast up legs, get dominant positions, ride out the clock, and it would be a win. Now, not only is it not guaranteed to be a win, but there's somebody possibly telling them, listen, your contract's coming up, and people think it's really boring. And with Chimaev, his last time out against Dricus, it's absolute domination. And what's everybody saying? How boring it was. Just so boring. Islam Makhachev, I never go to the bar to watch fights anymore, but I was there to watch Islam versus Jack Della Maddalena. And like the place was just so upset with Islam Makhachev. I paid money for this. I can't believe I told my buddy you got to see this guy. They should cut Islam Makhachev. Cut Islam Makhachev. Like the guy that finished Dustin Poirier, the guy that finished Charles Oliveira, the guy that finished Hanato and Moicano in like a single round. Like, why would they cut this guy who otherwise has always delivered? Because of one bad fight. So now you're looking at what the UFC is doing with TKO in general, and they're offering these WWE wrestlers 50% of their contract. They're signing up random Contender Series guys for bare minimum. No one's really getting paid. Is that they want action. They want action, action, action. And it's possible that you're saying, hey, if you want a better contract, if you want more money, you have to thrill the fans. Chimaev's coming off a boring performance. If someone tells him, hey, listen, dude, we want to do this with you. We want to do that with you. We want you to then move up and fight Alex Pereira. We want you to do all these things. Show us a little something. Well, just like he did against Burns, and like he sorted it against Kamaru Usman to a lesser extent, and maybe he's down to throw hands with Sean Strickland. If Sean gets under the guy's skin and all of a sudden Chimaev wants to prove something, then maybe he comes out with a more of a striking approach. And if he does that, then it's problematic, especially if you've bet this Chimaev money line, because you're not getting a whole lot of juice. And the juice that you are getting, that little bit that you're getting, is all predicated on he's just going to wrestle this entire time. Now, he's released a little bit of sparring footage between him and Sean Strickland, and there's nothing to it. It's light sparring. They're barely touching each other. They're just kind of floating around. The one thing you did notice is that he's like way faster than Strickland. Strickland's very plodding, flat-footed, kind of comes at you and just constantly keeps up that rhythm. So I think with Chimaev, it's like he can dart in and out. He'll land some shuffle uppercuts. He'll do well in the single collar tie. And ultimately, he's going to try to get this fight to the ground. If Dricus was able to do it 6 times in that first fight, took more of a striking approach in that rematch. But, you know, certainly that first time in Toronto, it's like I don't see how Chimaev doesn't do exactly that. The weight cuts to 170 aren't on the table anymore. So you don't really have to worry about him having to cut 40 pounds and gassing out. Him at 185 pounds would be way more suited to him. But, you know, he trains in a garage with Pat Downey and Brandon Allen. It's more of a privatized training session. I know he's been dealing with some injuries. He's now 32 years old. One has to wonder how ambitious he still is. But yeah, he's got a real opportunity here to beat Sean Strickland and then move on to these big money payday fights, whether it's move up to 205 pounds and try to grab a title there as well. The future is still very bright for this guy. He's just got to go out and perform. Best way to do that is to win. Best way to win is to go and wrestle right off the hop. So I do have Chimaev. It's no shocker there. I do think he makes it look easy if he sticks to the game plan. But I'm looking from a live betting standpoint that if this is the last thing on my ticket, or if I really need this for big financial purposes and we're into a rounds 3 and you can see he's overexerting himself and you can see he's tiring out, then you can pull the shoot because there's going to be really good plus money in the live betting market available from a Sean Strickland standpoint. And then on a prop standpoint, I kind of think it goes to a decision. So I got some overs. I know you mentioned the Chimaev by sub as a possible way of playing him. And although the sub's on the table, it's like Sean Strickland does have good grappling, good enough grappling, good submission defense. Not really one to just pack it in and tap out. You would probably have to get to his back, go for the rear naked choke. It's certainly all on the table, but I think a durable guy, which Sean Strickland is probably just going to not accept these positions, but get put into these positions, lie there, get crucifix, work out of the crucifix, get to the next round, come out, land some small shots. Chimaev shoots the takedown again and rinse and repeat. A clean power puncher might be able to clip Chimaev and put him away, but Sean Strickland's just not really a clean power puncher. I know he put away Fluffy his last time out, But Fluffy Hernandez is really, really weak to the body. It's been exposed multiple times, and Sean Strickland was able to go to the body and hurt him. Is he going to front kick Chimaev and hurt him to the body? I'm sure it's possible. To me, this doesn't seem likely. The most likely outcome is Chimaev using his far superior wrestling to put this fight exactly where it benefits him on the mat, basically often as you can, early and often. And then again, once you bank 3 rounds, you can play around a little bit, and maybe you lose 2 of the 5. But without that big threat of the one-punch power, you can afford to play on the feet for a few minutes of every round if you choose to, without having to worry about getting the lights turned out. So I'm sure it's a play that a lot of people are on, but it's Chimaev. And if I'm trying to improve that line, I do got some overs in this fight, and I'm going to take the Chimaev by decision.
I will say the one dangerous thing that you said there is trying to get in the head of Sean Strickland. Because everyone told Sean Strickland, just go across, just wrestle Alex Pereira. And he's just like, in 1 minute, to his corner, he's like, in 1 minute, in another minute. Like, he just kind of just kept waiting and had his head knocked off. So Strickland may be like, I've been putting in all this wrestling in camp, and just shoot a double right off the hop, just to prove that he can take Chimaev down and then fail, end up in a guillotine. I mean, no, when I was talking about the sub there, like, I was saying that it's like, it doesn't excite me at like minus. Do I think it's maybe the most likely outcome? Yeah, but like, it's very possible. Yeah, it could very much be. On the Chimaev side, I just have no idea what to do. No idea what to do. But I guess you could do a lot worse than Chimaev by decisions, like plus 300 in that range. But yeah, I'm on the late Strickland props. Not heavily invested. Sorry, it's a coward's way out. Don't intend on getting involved in the main event on the money line. I'll be watching live as I always do. But yeah, let's move on to the next fight. We got Tatsuro Taira taking on Josh Van. Taira minus 160 favorite to come back on Van plus 140. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I find myself leaning towards Tatsuro Taira, but this is another fight that it's a flyweight title fight. It's flyweight for 5 rounds. Like, this thing probably can and will go in many different directions. If you're going to bet Josh Van, you do not bet him right now. You bet him after the first round. He's notoriously a slow starter unless you dislocate your own elbow. Generally gives up that first round, and just the longer it goes, he really starts to pick up that momentum. For Taira, he's got an opportunity here to become Japan's first ever world champion. So this is a huge monumental achievement that's right on the table. And I do feel like he's got a very well-rounded skill set to get after it. When he first came to the UFC, he was mostly just like a grappling whiz. Really excellent ability to get to the back. Once he takes your back, puts the body triangle in, you're not really going anywhere. You saw Aljamain Sterling recently win. Same thing. If you can dictate the action, dictate the tempo, slow this thing down to your heart's appeal, then yeah, I mean, it puts you in a really good spot to win. Taira just had that. But as you saw him progress, his striking is getting way better. He's got a nasty right hand, throws his punches very sharp, very straight down the middle. Was it an early stoppage last time out against Brandon Moreno? Yeah, I thought so. But all the same, he's beating him up. Brandon Moreno's not really going anywhere. You see the involvements from this game, and I do like it. Now, going back to that fight with Brandon Royval, his last loss, really his only loss. Brandon Royval is an elite, and I do mean elite scrambler and grappler. I mean, the guy's wrestling is not exactly the best, but for the most part, it's like his submission game is top notch, and his ability to just constantly scramble out of harm's way, sweep, reverse, get on top, grab a hold of your neck, and do it for 25 minutes is second to none. So in that fight, you saw Taira kind of struggle with that overall output. And Van is a master of output. Yeah, he's got some power, he's got some zap, but it's more so he just breaks you down with constant pressure, constant punching combinations. So in my mind, it's like Taira is going to get early takedowns. If he does not put away Josh Van, by rounds 3, 4, and 5, if there are these prolonged striking exchanges, they're going to favor Van. Van's the kind of guy that can land 50, 60 significant strikes in a round if you're just going to stand with him. And tiring this guy out is going to be key. But my issue with Van is he's not really been doing MMA that long. Like, we all know he's a young guy, but he's not really been doing MMA that long. And being that he's from Burma or Myanmar, I guess they call it now, his striking is solid. The guy's chin's solid. He's willing to go to war. But you do watch him on the regional scene for Fury before he signs with the UFC. And taking his back, out grappling him, getting the takedowns, that's all on the table. Even in the UFC, he generally gives takedowns up to almost all these guys, all of his opponents, whether it be Zhalga Zhumagulov takes him down, Felipe Bunez took him down twice, won the first round. Cody Diorden took him down twice, won the first round. Ray Saruya took him down 4 times in like 16 attempts. But again, those guys are able to take him down. They just don't necessarily yield the control time out of it. Taira's not like that. If he's getting takedowns on you, he's probably going to work his way to the back. If he works his way to the back, that ends up being the round. And then standing, it's like he's not irresponsible. He's got a good chin. He can take a punch. He can fight 25 minutes. He has that type of pace. And his striking's improved a lot. With Van, he keeps his hands a little bit low, and he doesn't necessarily respect the punches coming back at him all the time. Charles Johnson's able to clip him. I don't doubt that Taira can just catch him with something he doesn't see coming. And then if it's a knockdown, it's not going to be a knockdown. I try to ground and pound this guy, let him back up, and we get back to slugging. It's I knock him down. On the way back up, I take the back. I put the body triangle in. I seal the deal on the round. You can't really take away much from Josh Van versus Pantoja other than like Pantoja's beating him for the 26 seconds that they're on the feet. He is outlanding him. He's landing pretty good, actually. Van's got his hands down and looks a little bit like he's a slow starter, which he always is. But I feel like Taira can blend in some of that quick, explosive, straight right hands, quick, explosive striking, but getting the fight to the ground, getting the backpack in, trying to just kill time off the clock and slow this guy's rhythm down. Like, that's the name of the game, and that's how he's going to have to win. So, like, sometimes you got to take the boring route. And, yeah, being a boring fight would definitely favor Tatsuro Taira. A fight of the night type fight, a back and forth, that's not going to favor him. That'll be Josh Van's wheelhouse. So, I got Taira because I got a minus 160. He'll be minus 200 after the first round. And the way I see it going, he may be minus 260 after the second round. But then at that point, this fight's still live. There's still 3 more rounds to go. And I got to hope that this ability to get takedowns is going to last the whole way through. He doesn't always look to shoot first. He's falling in love with his striking a little bit. And against Van, it's the wrong guy to allow him to grow in confidence. You just need to nip it at the bud, take him down, start to deflate him, make him carry your weight, and then by those later rounds, he's knockout or bust. He's going to get desperate. He'll leave you more openings. And what do you do with those openings? You take him down again and control him. So my faith is in Tatsuro Taira to do the right thing. I know Van's a gamer. I know he's absolutely going to bring it. I know he's in the fight for the whole 25 minutes. He's also definitely got luck on his side, so if some freak crazy thing's going to happen, it's probably going to benefit Josh Van. All things that make me worried, Paul. Flyweight fight. Expect the unexpected. That being said, Taira's got an excellent skill set to mitigate a lot of what Josh Van does, and I think this is a good matchup for him. So I'm going to back Tatsuro Taira to become Japan's first ever world champion in the UFC.
First ever, eh?
Yeah, Kyle Uno got a draw against BJ Penn back in the day. Yushin Okami fought in a losing effort to Anderson Silva.
I remember that.
Yeah, there's actually been a few other Japanese guys that have challenged, but Gomi was good in Pride. That's not a UFC title. It was a Pride title. And it's a Japanese organization. What do you expect? There's been a couple of Japanese champions, of course. But at the UFC level, listen, Japan's an excellent country for producing high-quality fighters over the years. But they have the physicality to deal with the big American wrestler or the big Dutch kickboxer or the big guy that can drag them into deeper waters. But Taira's this new blend. He's got excellent grappling, excellent technique, and then he seems to be adding all the other skills to his game versus a Josh Van that's highly exciting, but leaves a lot of openings and leaves a lot of holes that a precise surgeon-like fighter is going to take advantage of. And to me, that's what Taira is.
Yeah, I got the Taira side as well. The grappling, I think going 5 rounds, the experience of going 5 rounds with Royval, even though it was a loss, has got to be valuable. You kind of said it right at the end there. That taking Josh Van out of his element. No one's really like Ray Saruya. And like you go, oh, that was like 5 fights ago. It's like, well, Josh Van's been fighting so much that was only in 2025. Getting taken down 4 times by Ray Saruya. So it's like he's been fighting so often. It's just like, how many improvements is he making fight to fight? I mean, I was backing Pantoja last time out because I was just like, I think Pantoja's going to take this guy down. I think he's going to take his back. I mean, not much really changes. Pantoja's got like legendary durability, probably more refined striking because he's been at it for longer at this point. Taira's got like higher ceiling because he's, still a baby. These guys are only separated by about a year. Actually,
2000 versus 2001. It makes you feel old for sure, but it's the next generation.
Maybe a year and a half, basically, or a year and 8 months or 10 months. But But yeah, like they are definitely the next generation. This is a young man's game. Wouldn't even be surprised. I mean, it's not the line. I mean, the submission. I just think I have so many questions about like what happens if Van. They've done a pretty good job of keeping him away from guys with this one, like this really stick to you type of game plan. We saw it with Ray Saruya. I'm sure he's made improvements since then. But if it's a stand-up fight, I mean, it's going to be very hard for Taira to hang with those types of numbers. Nobody really outpaces Josh Van. Like, he had 215 significant strikes over 15 minutes. It's like you ain't keeping up with that. Roy Val almost kept up with it. That was a damn close fight, but
Yep, a damn close fight. But what I don't get is that Brandon Royval shoots 0 takedowns. It's like, come on, man. This guy has a vulnerability on the ground, and like you're not even going to try to test it. So sometimes when you watch back and you're rewatching fights, it's like, oh yeah, this guy, but he didn't stick to the game plan that you're expecting to see. Philip Bunez, that's the best example of what I expect to happen here. Is in the first round, he just takes him down and beats him. Second round, he gasses. He goes, drum roll, please. It's just not good. He's a bum. So Bunez can't keep it up. But once you start getting into these world-class guys like a Pantoja, who I understand hurt himself, but a guy that can take you down, then keep it going for the 25 minutes, a Race Saruya, he just didn't have enough beyond those few takedowns. But Tatsuro Taira is way different. You know, he's got that ability. We talked about Tim Elliott last week. It's like Tim Elliott at his best is a dog on a bone, but he's 39 years old now. His body's just not keeping up. So how does Tim Elliott do against Josh Van? He may win the first round. He may take Josh Van down and win. It's the longer it goes, Elliott can't keep up. Most of these guys can't keep up. Eventually, you meet these guys, though, right at the top. This is a championship level fight. It's for the belt. These are two of the top 5 guys in the world. Pantoja still may be number 1, and Manel Kape's probably number 3. But still, you're getting 2 world-class guys. Well, world-class guys don't have cardio issues, and Ty really doesn't have that. You mentioned he's a baby. It's like, I thought this guy was a one-dimensional grappler, and then the more you see him, it's like he adds. Clearly, he's a diligent worker. Clearly, he's adding, more skills to his game, but he's refining everything out. And I like his decision making and his high ring IQ. And I think that instead of brawling, raw dog Brandon Royval, my boy Paul. I know, the guy's my boy. I love backing him, but his ring IQ is absolutely abysmal, right? Well, that's what I like about Taira, is that maybe he's not as entertaining as a Brandon Royval, but he makes the right choices. And so when you're backing him financially, that's the kind of guy you want to back. When I watch Van, it's like, oh man, there's tons of openings here to do something, but you get sucked into this. Let's just scrap. Let's throw down. Especially if you're broke and you're like, hey man, we might get a fight of the night out of this. Make $100,000. I may get a performance bonus because this guy's willing to engage. Well, this is a title fight. You know where the real money is? The second paycheck, the winning the belt, the getting a run of tops cards with you holding the title on it, the getting put into the history books as a UFC champion. Like that's where your money's going to come from. So don't play around chasing a bonus. Do the right thing. And he feels like one of those guys that you can kind of rely on to do the right thing. If that's the case, I'll be backing him.
And just the fact that he's training out in Denver now at altitude, I think that's going to help his case a whole bunch. I just don't think Josh Van's grappling has been tested to the capabilities. I like Taira by sub. It's like plus 200-ish. Doesn't necessarily happen, but I think he's totally fine on the money line too. If he starts struggling to get takedowns, then I'm in a whole bunch of trouble. But got to take some spots along the card. Moving on down, we've got Alexander Volkov taking on Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Volkov a minus 170-ish favorite. I guess there's been a bit of a market move there. But who knows? These things swing around all week. Volkov minus 160. Come back on Waldo plus 140. I still like Volkov here. There's been there's been some money coming in on Waldo. I understand Waldo's pretty fast on the feet. I think they've done a really good job of keeping Waldo sheltered from like really anybody who has any sort of wrestling game plan. And that's not to say that Volkov 100% is going to go out there and put the gears to him in wrestling, but it's like I think he's going to try a little bit. There may be some value on some of those like over takedown markets. I don't really have books that offer those to me currently, but I like Volkov on the money line. It could just turn into a stand-up affair, which would be close, competitive. But yeah, give me the size on that front. And because I'm only human, Cody, I took a small shot on Volkov by sub, which is plus 2,000. Why? Because like not that long ago, he took down Tai Tuivasa. Now Waldo's probably got better grappling than Tai Tuivasa, but took him down. Ezekiel choked him pretty quick. He's been in there with a whole bunch of different. He had lots of submission attempts against Cyril Gahn. In that fight, it's a part of his game. I think is like kind of slept on at 20-1. Like I would be more mad at myself if it happened and I didn't have the courage to pull the trigger than to lose that bet. I mean, when you make a 21 wager, you certainly expect to probably lose the bet. But I like Volkov on the money line. What about you?
It's just hard to kind of know what version of Volkov's showing up. Like, that's where I struggle the most on this fight. Kind of leads me to want to just go dog or pass. I wouldn't say they're middling heavyweights. They are elite heavyweights, but you got two big boys slugging it out. I kind of want to be holding the plus money ticket. The issue with Volkov is, at 6'7" with 80-inch reach, now cutting to like 260 pounds. He's a really big guy, and as he creeps to 37 years old now, this is his 51st pro fight. I just don't really know what kind of condition he's in. So 2 fights ago, he fights Cyril Gahn, and thank God they gave the decision to Cyril Gahn. Woof, that would have killed me. Point being is that Dana's upset. The crowd's booing. Everybody's saying Volkov won that fight. Dana says, we are going to reward Volkov. I scored that fight for him. I can't believe the judges got this one wrong. And the reward is fight Jailton Almeida. Meanwhile, Cyril Gahn, who robbed him, got a title fight against Tom Aspinall. So Volkov's right there. He's close to getting another title fight, or he's close to fighting for the belt. He's right on the cusp. And yet the very next fight against Jailton Almeida, it's complete reverse. Thank God they gave it to Volkov. But now you have everyone crying robbery the other way. And I can't believe Alexander Volkov won that fight. He got taken down 7 times. Like, at his best, he's offensively trying to wrestle a little bit. I don't know why. The guy came in as a pure kickboxer, but his last number of fights, it's like, against Pavlovich, he used length all day. Then against Cyril Gahn, it's like there was a massive speed advantage for Cyril Gahn, which is why he relied on the wrestling. Against Jailton Almeida, he's all of a sudden the one getting taken down. It's just hard to imagine what the game plan is. Against Waldo Acosta Cortes, does he want to take him down? Does he want to try to use his striking?
For the most part.
Well, I would think you want to take the guy down, being that he's a former pro boxer. You're 6'7" with an 80-inch reach, but like he's 6'4" with a 77-inch reach. So like really, he's not that much smaller than you. He is faster. He's a better boxer. And if you look by the numbers, Waldo lands just over 5.5 significant strikes per minute. Yeah, it's like he's got high output. He's one of these guys at heavyweight that is fast, has a good jab, keeps up good punch output, and over his last 3, he's actually scored the knockouts. So Volkov, kind of tall man defense, getting a little bit older. This is his 51st pro fight. I feel like he's there to get hit. I feel like he's there to get outworked. His path to victory is very much take Waldo down, because as you mentioned, they've done a pretty good job of keeping Waldo away from those elite heavyweights. Shamil Ghaziev's supposed to be a heavyweight wrestler, but he's a putz. And didn't even try. He just gets walked into shots. Ante goes from winning the fight due to an eye poke to all of a sudden losing the fight, but had some moments, and certainly not a wrestler. Derek Lewis, that's just a freebie win, and he treats it exactly like that. Went over 1.5 rounds, thankfully. But it's kind of just plays with his food at times. So I think if this stays striking, I think he beats Volkov. I honestly do. He's faster, he's got better output, a little more agile. That jab is going to be on point, and Volkov just seems reluctant to stick to a striking-based game plan. But of course, if you're going out there and you're taking down Cyril Gahn, who's an elite guy, not an elite wrestler, but all the same, a very good heavyweight, then why couldn't you go and take down Waldo? So I decided to watch back on some of Waldo's takedown defense, and it's not bad. His get-up game was also pretty good, but the guys that are taking him down is Sergey Spivak or Chase Sherman. So does Volkov have better wrestling than those guys? Of course. And if he's getting takedowns and he can neutralize a round or two, then all of a sudden you're fighting down a couple rounds. It's just, it's not great. The bottom line is that one guy's minus 170 and one guy's plus 140. I think both guys have merit. I think both guys could win, but not every favorite's going to win on this card. I acknowledge that. some of these underdogs are going to come through. When you're looking at who the best available underdogs are, you can do worse than Acosta. He's plus money. He's heavyweight. He's got advantages. He's faster. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. He's feeling himself. And of course, he's the younger guy that's, still making improvements, whereas Volkov's at that stage of regression in his career. So I only got a handful of underdogs that I'm going to back in this card. And sadly, Waldo is one of them. Like Volkov, not quite my boy. Like Volkov, just feel like this is maybe a winnable spot for Waldo. And at plus 140, it's worth a poke.
I was going to tell you, come join the Volkov by sub party. It probably ends in despair, but any takedowns, we'll be feeling alive.
Well, that remember Marcos Rogério de Lima, who, as you know, is my most hated fighter, probably of all times. I absolutely despise the guy. And all he needed was 3 takedowns. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Waldo just sits there like a fish out of water. If that version of Volkov shows up, who knows? But it's worth noting that Marcos Rogério de Lima is a meatball of a man. Him on top of you is where you're going to move him. Whereas like Volkov, there's room for scrambles. There's room for creating space, and there's room for getting back up. But you got to trust Waldo to do all those things. And he's not the most trustworthy guy going. So it's going to be near the bottom this week, but you need a few dogs.
All right, we got Sean Brady taking on Joaquin Buckley. Brady, a minus 175 favorite to come back on Buckley, plus 150. Who you got here?
Could take Buckley, but, could this thing blow up in your face? Of course, because really, when you look at these top 4 fights, Khamzat Chimaev can make this look easy with his wrestling. Tatsuro Taira could make this look easy with his grappling and his wrestling, really. Volkov, if Volkov wants to take the path of least resistance to lean on this guy and use his wrestling. Wrestling wins fights, and you and I both know that, for sure. It's which guys are actually going to stick to that game plan. And in Sean Brady's case, of course, the wrestling is the key to beating Joaquin Buckley, because Brady can't strike. Not only can he not strike, he can't take a punch. Now, I know people will say, wow, Michael Morales hits hard and he's a big guy. And of course, I was drumming that up myself. Michael Morales is big and does hit hard. But like Sean Brady's low-key also been TKO'd by Bilal Muhammad, who absolutely diced him up standing and made him look foolish. His hands are not good. He's small for this weight class. He flirted with the idea of dropping down to 155 pounds after that loss to Morales, realizing, hey, these are some big guys. I don't think he deals well with adversity. I don't think he deals well with getting hit. But no doubt about it, this guy's BJJ black belt is amongst the best in the division. His grappling is absolutely top-notch. And if he gets his wrestling going, he's going to make Buckley look foolish. The thing with Buckley, though, is he's fought a lot of good wrestlers. He's fought Colby Covington, who I think took him down once on 6 or 7 attempts. He's fought in some of these higher ilk. He fought Kamaru Usman, which was a good fight as well. Again, I was backing Usman in that spot, being that I thought he would have the superior wrestling over Buckley, and that proved to be true. But this is a former world champion with, college wrestling credentials and just like a really good wrestler. So what you've been in there with Usman, you've been in there with Colby Covington. He even took one of those RAF matches, and he took on a Pat Downey. Like, what are you thinking, dude? Why would you wrestle Pat Downey? For no other reason than the experience. Pat Downey's huge and a very credited wrestler. Guy's one of Khamzat Chimaev's top training partners right now, leading into this fight with Sean Strickland. He's a beast. So when you experience that, it's like Buckley understands, keeping these fights standing is going to be very important. And he does show a 72% takedown defense. He's explosive and he's got big power. So sure, if Brady takes him down, then this thing may look really bad, and it's another bad pick for Cody, and I can't believe you thought Joaquin Buckley. But really, the name of the game here is to stuff a few of these takedowns, make him taste your power. If you do get taken down, yeah, not great, but survive. I'm not saying get back up, because it's pretty hard to get Sean Brady, but all the same, it's just like you got to extend this fight out. Get back up, find your moments. When Brady looks like $1 million, it's against guys that are quitting on themselves. Like Leon Edwards, the whole time he's just deflated, doesn't want to be there. Gilbert Burns, it's an older version of Gilbert Burns. I went the full 25 minutes, by the way. And then Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin Gastelum's just at this weird point of his career where he doesn't seem motivated, but also that was Kelvin Gastelum made 170 pounds for Sean Brady. And we all know that Kelvin Gastelum can't make 170 pounds. So he's just deflated. So you're beating up old veterans who, after a round or two of getting suffocated, are like, I don't really want to be here anymore. Buckley just doesn't take that approach. If he has the approach of all I need is one shot standing to knock this guy out, keep surviving, keep working, stuff a few takedowns and make him pay, then this is right in his wheelhouse. Could play out like the Colby Covington fight. Better on the feet, faster than him, touching him up. He shoots a couple takedowns once he starts getting busted up. You stuff those takedowns, you put the nail in the coffin. I think he can do exactly that. And he's plus money. That's kind of the biggest reason I'm going with him here. Need a few more underdogs. And yeah, he's one of them with a very valiant win condition. Has a path of victory, is plus money, but I understand it's one of those you're either going to look so smart, oh, Buckley stopped the takedown, knocked him out, or it's going to be one of these, oh my God, what was I thinking? I'm getting drowned on the ground and there's nothing I can do about it. So, yeah, Buckley's dog number 2 for me, but yeah, expect the unexpected, Paul.
100%. Well, yeah. I mean, with Sean Brady, it's just like, I don't think I've ever bet the guy. Like, I haven't necessarily bet against him, but I've just never really. His one skill is elite. It's very good. If he can get takedowns consistently, his control from top, his ability to maintain those positions, even against very, very good grapplers, like that Gilbert Burns fight. I mean, Gilbert Burns over the hill. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it was impressive, man. Just to be able to because like a lot of the questions going into that is like, is he just gonna try to take Burns down? It's just like he took him down over and over and over and had no problem hanging out in those situations with a guy with that BJJ background. Morales last time out was a small dog. We bet him by knockout. Did I have? I don't know. We go back so many years. Did I have money on Bilal Muhammad? I definitely didn't have Bilal Muhammad by knockout. I'll tell you that much.
Pieced him up bad.
But I don't think I've ever bet Sean Brady, and he's cost me some money. Don't get me wrong, but I ain't starting this week. No. I've been playing cats. Oh, I'm gonna wait for this one live. Oh, I'm taking the favorite in this fight and this fight. No, I like Buckley in this one. Buckley by knockout is 100% in play. I think Buckley's made the improvements having these fights against high level wrestlers. I mean, every single camp is probably working on the exact same thing.
100%.
And if he gets taken down by, if he was able to survive against Usman for 25 minutes, don't get me wrong, Brady has better submission skills, but just being able to, just having that experience, being tired, being worn down, not being able to get up against a former world champion. I think these are all kind of valuable things. So now he's got a guy who's got great grappling. Don't get me wrong. But as you highlighted, and everyone kind of knows, it's like, I think his striking is very, very limited. Or at least compared to Buckley's, nowhere near as dynamic. And then his durability is super, super questionable. I mean, Morales is an absolute stud. He could end up winning the championship by the end of the year. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, the Bilal Muhammad fight was a pretty big red flag as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and then interesting when you brought up the Usman fight, and then we can move on. But so Usman fight Buckley, and it ended up being 5 rounds, as Paul mentioned, and it was fight of the night. It won fight of the night on the card. It was a good fight. And so Usman's fight right before that, he was coming off of a fight with Khamzat Chimaev at 185 pounds. Usman's a big guy. Sean Brady, I understand they're both 5'10". Sean Brady's not that big of a welterweight. So, yeah, getting taken down by a big old, possibly middleweight Kamaru Usman is one thing. Taken down by a guy that may be able to make 155 pounds in a different life with a different nutritionist, it's like, yeah, man, you just got to stuff a few. And that's when your confidence starts building, and that's when New Mensa puts a right hand lopside his head. And you've not seen Brady lose a round and come back and win the second round. Or it's 1-1 going into the third. And all of his wins is he is in the driver's seat. The second you start to touch him up, he falls right apart. I like the guy. We talked about his grappling's elite. The guy straight up grappling match against Craig Jones and beat him, right? His grappling is elite. You got to get the fight to the ground, and you got to eat punches in the face as you're attempting to do that. And that's where I feel like he'll struggle a little bit. So let's ride some dog money, Paul.
Small favor. Can you call Sean Brady your boy just for a second? But I'm going to fade him. No.
Too many back tats. I mean, no, I'm kidding. He's got like actually.
I was looking for that rub. Oh, here's a fun one. Bobby Green is like minus 400 in a UFC fight. Does he have all the skills to beat Jeremy Stephens at this point in Jeremy Stephens' career? Yes. Does Jeremy Stephens, the former hardest hitting guy at 145 pounds. Who is that guy? But he hasn't really shown the power to the same degree outside of BKFC. He had some knockouts, but that's kind of like wearing people down, knocking them out. He hasn't had any real one-hitter quitters in quite some time. I understand why Bobby's the favorite here. I just think when Bobby's minus 400, you got to really, he's a great underdog because the guy is super, super talented. He's got skills in every aspect of the game. Even though his grappling, I think, is criminally underrated at this point. Like, he's learned a lot. But he just messes around so much. And you don't want him flicking his shoulder. Like, you have minus 400 on him. It's a close round. There's 10 seconds left of the round. Stephens is marching forward and whiffing on punches. But then you got Bobby Green just doing this, dusting his shoulders off and stuff like that. It's just I don't need that stress in my life. I got Bobby Green winning. Probably by decision. What is the prop on that? Probably by decision. Where green. Sorry, it's scroll down. That's even money. Tough thing to do. I mean, the sub prop is Bobby Green's probably not going to get sub, is he? No, I got Bobby Green. I just have no idea how to approach this from a betting perspective. Cody, where are you at with this one?
Well, I know I got Bobby Green. That much is for sure. But yeah, at minus 400, you got Bobby Green. He's a little bit older, and he's spending most of his days hanging out in his own strip club that he owns. And nice. When you fight with your hands low and you have been knocked out a few times, which Bobby Green has, you don't want to top ticket a guy at minus 400. That's one, not bringing a ton of value, and then two, he fights a very risky type style that maybe he just gets caught. And I'm not saying maybe he gets caught because it's Jeremy Stephens throwing. It's anybody throwing. When your hands are low and you're peacocking and you're shoulder shrugging, and I like the Philly shell. I like the antics, but sometimes it's too much. In close rounds, it's too much. Even his Lance Gibson fight, right? You watch that one back, it's dude, he has his way with him. And it's still a split decision. Why? Which judge possibly gave it to Lance Gibson? Well, every time Bobby shakes his head, that means he got hit. And he's doing a lot of shaking his head. And he's arrogant. And he's cocky. And I'm a human being sitting there. And, geez, that other guy's done everything right. He's a very consummate professional. Now this guy's walking forward with his hands low and not returning fire every time he's playing around with it. Maybe you're prone to scoring it against him. So, like Paul says, if you get him at plus money, guy's a dog. He'll fight for your dollar.
Pick him or even minus 150. But it's you get into now he's got to win 80% of the time for it to be a value side.
80% of the time. And I understand that Jeremy Stephens is also 39. Bobby Green's 39 years old. At some point, fighting with your hands low and relying strictly on your reflexes and your timing is going to start to catch up with you. They always say power is the last thing to go. It is. You got an old man. That old man hits really hard. But speed is the first thing to go. That old man's slow. If he hits you, you're in a lot of trouble. But, when you become a reflex-based guy, you're a Roy Jones Jr., the best super middleweight in the world. Once you go up to heavyweight and you shoot your reflexes, now you're trying to drop back down. It's you can't rely on your head speed or your feet or being able to just evade at the last second. You start getting caught. You start getting caught on those end of those punches, and it puts you away. So the minus 400, I could complain day and night, but Jeremy Stephens is just not in anymore. I think he's way more shop worn. First of all, the UFC must, I don't know. The people will say he knows where the bodies are buried, or he's sleeping with one of the executive's wives, and the executive low-key likes it and hangs out on a small chair in the corner of the room. Whatever it is, they love Jeremy Stephens. First of all, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought for sure when he came back to fight Mason Jones, I thought that was a one and done because that card was in Iowa. And I'm they're just bringing back, a local legend. And I thought even potentially that maybe Stephens would retire on the spot. It was very one-way traffic, pretty boring. He swings from the hip. He's swinging, but it's wrestling really he's been in BKFC. It's just he hasn't been training wrestling. So I do think King Green sub is a little sneaky here. Like, not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong because of how much grappling has he been doing these days. He's 39. He's busted down a bit. He's effectively not won a MMA fight since he won a split decision over Miles Price, who was 11-8 in PFL 4 years ago. Not won an MMA fight in 4 years. The fight that he did win was a split decision over an 11-8 Miles Price. You're right. Nathan Schulte subbed this guy. Mateusz Gamrot subbed this guy. Bobby Green sub Tony Ferguson. You can't tell me Bobby Green does not know how to grapple. He most certainly does. Your angle is not wrong at all. I just don't really understand for the UFC and Jeremy Stephens is like, we're going to bring in a guy that's not won an MMA fight in 4 years. And sure, they bring him back in Iowa. Cool. Let's bring him back in his hometown, sell some tickets, and we'll give him a striker, and it'll be a striker versus striker, just a banger in front of his home fans. No, they gave him a guy that took him down a pile of times and exposed him. Okay, well, was it a winnable fight? No. Jeremy Stephens is a plus 475 underdog in that fight. Okay, well, it was a 3-fight deal, 4-fight deal. You know, you come back, do us a favor, we'll have you some. No, it was a 1-fight deal, and then they went back to BKFC.
Oh, was it another local legend from the region, like Iowa or Nebraska? No, it was a Welsh guy.
Yeah,
he got out wrestled by an Englishman. I guess Welsh people probably don't want to be called Englishman.
No, he's a Welshman. Yeah. Well, who has really good wrestling and good judo for the record, but it's like it's not a good fight for him. It's just a weird fight to put on in Iowa. You bring back a real local legend in Jeremy Stephens for a one-off, then he takes the fight against Mike Perry, and then all of a sudden he's now re-signed to the UFC at 39 years old for another one-off. I don't get it. And then for Bobby Green, it's like they gave him a debuting Lance Gibson, guy's making his debut. Bobby Green had 24 fights in the UFC at that point, and they gave him a guy making his debut, beats him. Then they gave him Daniel Zellhuber, who he's a plus 315 underdog against, and he beats him. Why is he taking a step backwards and fighting Jeremy Stephens? It's a fun fight. I'm really not complaining on it from an entertainment standpoint, but it's just like, yeah, I don't get it with the whole Stephens thing. And then you're OG, so you'll remember this, but like, remember when Jeremy Stephens got arrested before the fight and Dana White bailed him out? Like, they love Jeremy Stephens. They love Jeremy Stephens. But here's my greasy theory on that one. I'm not saying he's having financial problems, but he lost that one-off to Mason Jones, and then he fought Mike Perry. What's interesting, though, is that he fought Mike Perry at 175 pounds. He fought Mason Jones at 155. This fight with Bobby Green's at 155. Then he fought Mike Perry at 175. He's way too small. Not that he didn't really fight all that well. Everything that he was getting hit with, you could see was visibly hurting him. He was slower. Just got demoralized. And I watched this interview with him afterwards, and he's like, listen, man, my family is taken care of, and it's my position as a provider and a protector to take these type of fights that are going to reward my family. And it was very much, here's a 50-fight veteran who's not financially well off. We'll talk to Jim Miller when we get to Jim Miller. Jim Miller's fought more times in the UFC than anybody. He's collected 15 performance bonuses over the tenure of his career. The longest serving guy in the roster. And then he comes out about how, you know, he's basically gone broke paying his kids' medical bills. This guy should own his own island. This guy should wake up in the morning and get in his yacht and do his own thing. Like, he should have millions and millions and millions of surplus money. But fighting's not like that. It's not the NFL. It's not the NHL. It's not it's not Major League Baseball. It's not any type of, popular sport in which you're actually getting paid your worth. It's a really tough game. So Stephens has been fighting for a long time. He remembers when the paydays were $6,000 and $6,000. Now he's taking bare knuckle boxing title fights with guys twice his size for no other reason than like, hey man, I'm almost 40 years old. I need money. And now you resign with the UFC, you fight in Iowa. Then they say thanks, but no thanks. Now you're back again and you're fighting Bobby Green. A desperate man's a dangerous man. Maybe he clips him. I'm not saying minus 400 Bobby Green is a walk in the park. I'm saying Bobby Green is fighting some of his best fights right now. He's got a little bit left in the tank. He's doing well. Jeremy Stephens is a wandering journeyman with a name and a reputation. And if they think they can sell a few tickets and get a few buys on their pay-per-view because they saw Stephens on the undercard and someone got excited for it, then so be it. to me, it's just like he's not in a favorable position to win. I just can't back him. It seems like he's mentally checked out doing it for the payday. And it's just not enough for me. So, yeah, again, desperate man's a dangerous man. I'm not saying he's absolutely desperate. He's got no money. He needs to win this fight to pay his bills. But he's at the point where, you mentioned this as well. Why could he get subbed? Because he's not even grappling anymore. He's not wrestling anymore. He's in the gym. He hits the bag. He shows up on fight night. He gives you what you got. You pat him on the back. You say, thanks, Jeremy. And then he moves on to the next opportunity. People are using his name to sell something. And that's all this is. It's a really fun fight. But Jeremy will probably get released after his 1-fight deal, which all this is. Whereas Bobby Green would be on a 3-fight winning streak. And people like Bobby Green. And we can put him on the UFC Embedded show. And we can show him in his club. And we can show him doing this. And we can show him doing that. We can sell the guy. He's the one that's going to keep moving within this division. And Jeremy Stephens is just here for a good time. That's it. So I got Bobby Green. And, the more you're talking about it, I kind of thought Bobby Green by knockout. Simply because that Mike Perry fight, he said no, Moss. He was getting hit. He was done with it. I'm done. You could say it was bare knuckle, sure, but a 4-ounce glove is still pretty hard. And those are 2-minute rounds in BKFC. So him making it to the 5th is only really him making it 9.5 minutes into the fight. 15 minutes against Bobby Green, if he takes it seriously, he could knock you out. But the more we've done this little back and forth, you're not wrong, dude. I mean, Bobby Green would be very smart to trip him up, get on top of him. And yeah, he does have a good submission game. So if you can get the right price on a crazy prop like that, nobody sees it coming, but it's on the table and it could cash.
But Bobby Green did say, like in an interview I was watching this week, that's like he's not really chasing the real belt anymore, but he wants to get his hands on the BMF belt so he can return it back to his buddy Nate Diaz. That's what he said. Those were his words. So it's like, is he going to come out and actually grapple? He may just absolutely throw down, which makes me really not enjoy, parlaying him up at -400. But who knows? Bobby is Bobby says even like himself that like he is like multiple screws loose. Like he's a crazy person. So like, what do you believe when you're listening to an interview like that? You just don't know. I mean, the proof is in the pudding for like really all of his fights. It's just like, when he's at his best, he is floating. He's in a flow state, and he is landing, 50 significant strikes around on you. Like that's a tough guy to keep up with. Stephens can't keep up with that. His chin's been historically pretty good over the course of his career, but he does so much silly stuff, and sometimes the volume is super, super low because he's just showboating, and what he thinks is like entertainment is actually just like everyone's watching on their screen going like, what are you doing? Like, do something. But I guess he doesn't see it that way. He gets in his, own little head, I suppose. Anyway,
just like his buddy Nate Diaz. So remember Nate Diaz? He needs a 5th-round knockout to beat Leon Edwards, and he drops him. And then he puts his hands up, and he starts flipping him off, and he puts his hands up, and he flips him off. It's like, but why are you not trying to actually knock the guy out? The showboating is just too illustrious. But, Nate Diaz made a career out of submitting guys. Biggest win of his career. He chokes out Conor McGregor. Like, sometimes the submission's the way to go. And if I'm Bobby Green and I want to get paid my win bonus and I want to take the least amount of damage possible and I want to fight again twice more this year, standing and banging with Jeremy Stephens is not conducive to that. And taking him down and having a quick rip and getting out of there, that's the way to go about it. But now you got to trust Bobby Green to do the right thing, and that ain't ever going to happen. This is a guy that, you'll remember this is a guy that one time did a full training camp sleeping on his buddy's couch because people were trying to kill his cousin and they were mistaking Bobby Green for his cousin, so he had to lay low, and he still took a fight during that time. So there's really no good rhyme or reason with Bobby. He just goes out there and does his thing. Gotta hope he's got one more left in him come Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, it's 10-1 on the sub. Like, I've made worse decisions, and I make worse decisions than that on a weekly basis. It's probably going to make it to my card. I'm sure I'll have Bobby Green's in some parlays this week as well. I mean, this next fight, and it's my boy. It's my boy. But, like, what are you supposed to do with this? We got Ateba Gautier as high as -1,800 on the market right now, taking on Ozzy Diaz +900, +800, +750, kind of the going rate for him at this point. And I think last time out there for my boy Ateba the GOAT, going the distance, I mean, it cost me a boatload of money. We learned that he doesn't really have a left hook. It wasn't a very exciting style of play. Obviously, he got beaten on the actual strike numbers, but knocked down in round 1, knocked down in round 2. It's going to be hard for anybody to come back from that. He still got the win. He showed that he can at least hang in round 3, lost round 3, I believe, on all the judges' scorecards. But it was a growing thing. But the biggest takeaway I had from that fight, as someone who was heavy on the under, fight doesn't go to decision, just blew up my entire card. But I like him. I learned my lesson. It's just like, I can't really be chasing these unders on him until I see the proof is in the pudding, right? It's like what he lacked the last fight. It was plain as day. And somebody with his athleticism may be able to fix that within the few months between these camps. He just didn't have a left hook. So it's like Pullaev kept escaping to Pulaev's right, Gautier's left. And it's just like he was never able to really cut him off. And like he wants you to escape to the right? Because that big old overhand right is coming at your head. He's got he's got like a power kick on that side as well that'll turn your lights off. He wants everyone to move on the right there, but it's like he didn't have the footwork to keep Pullaev where he wanted him. He did not have a left hook to even like there was no threat. If Pullaev just escaped to that side, he just kind of kept getting away with it. Is he gonna have those improvements in play? I mean, he's already minus 200 to win in round 1. He's minus 400 to win by knockout. The total is 1.5, minus 315 to the under. I mean, this is smelling like a Cody Saptic special over 1.5. And, usually I'd probably say, I'd mock you, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, I'm not loading up on these totals. If I miss them, I miss them this week. Do I think he absolutely kills Ozzy Diaz? Yes. But like, is it the crux of my financial exposure to this card this week? Like it was when I got burned last time? I just have to sit this one out. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm actually the polar opposite. I got Gautier to win by first round knockout and under 1.5 Paul Shaughnessy. I think this is a great opportunity for him to spark Ozzy Diaz and look good. The UFC knows what they got here. This kid's giant for the weight class, hits like an absolute ton of bricks. He's only 24 years old. It seems like we got the next Francis Ngannou, but sometimes you got to slow play it a little bit. And that last fight against Pullaev, it's like, okay, there are some limitations. His footwork isn't quite all that good yet. It still needs to experience the different styles. And Pullaev is tricky because he throws a lot of kicks. He's an Alexander Shlemenko trained guy. So, I mean, he's very quirky with his offense. But my biggest takeaway from that fight is that, like, Thibaut Gautier doesn't know how to fight southpaws. Like, everybody else he had fought to that point was orthodox. Yura Nato, Jose Medina, Robert Valentin, Tristan Vines, they're all orthodox fighters. And when he takes on Pullaev fights southpaw. So when you're saying Pullaev keeps escaping to his right, yeah, because he's just shuffling out his lead foot to the right. And he's able to, there's no left hook behind it, but like he's getting out of harm's way time and time again. He does manage to, he's getting outworked. Boom, when he does land, he's knocking Pullaev down. The power is there. It's that you've got an opponent that is very mobile, fighting southpaw, and leads with a lot of kicks. So he can just kind of just kick you from distance and then get out of dodge. Kick you from distance, get out of dodge. Winning in that manner, because he didn't lose, but winning in that manner would cause you to go back to the drawing board. This kid's 24 years old. You don't think he goes back to the drawing board and says, well, what did I do differently? Okay, well, this is how you cut off the cage as opposed to following somebody. This is how you put that left hook behind that straight right. This is how you capitalize on the knockdown. It's all there to be worked with. I'm expecting him to get better. Just, unfortunately, it wasn't a great performance his last time out. Against Ozzy Diaz, he goes back to fighting an orthodox fighter. And the thing with Ozzy Diaz is, like, he's way too stationary. He's there to get hit. When he fought in the Contender Series against Joe Pyfer, sure, Joe's a big power puncher, knocked out in under 1.5, but it was early into the second round. His fight with Zhang Mingyang, it's kind of the same thing. He's just like a lumbering guy. And Ozzy Diaz is there to stand directly in front of you. He's not moving his feet. He's not blocking himself. Zhang knocks him out 2 minutes and 25 seconds into the first round. Beautiful elbow. Puts him over. That last fight with Jordan Santos. Well, Jordan Santos has no power, Paul Shaughnessy. He hits you a lot. He's a volume guy for days. Talk about him later on the prelims. Guy's just a straight up volume guy, but he lacks that power. And so he hits Ozzy Diaz 131 significant times. Diaz's striking defense ain't there. His mobility really isn't there. He's looking to engage you. He's a big guy. He's also 6'4", same size as Ateba Gautier. He's got a 79-inch reach versus, I think, 81 for Gautier. Gautier is so proportionate, man. Woof. He's a big guy. The difference is he's not a big mobile guy. He's a little bit lumbering. He's a little bit flat, and he likes to stand in the pocket and exchange with you. Gautier is just the wrong guy to do that with. The last time out against Pulaev, it's easy to say, well, he didn't look good. He didn't look good against a guy that's in and out and southpaw and has a very big, wide kicking range. I don't think he faces that in Diaz. He faces a guy that's tough and scrappy, and coming off a win, so he's feeling good about himself, and he's probably going to engage Ateba Gautier. And if he does, I just feel like he's about to get felted to the canvas. So because it's minus 1,800, what can you do with it? You got to chase some prop. The simply him by knockout is still not good enough. So
yeah, I have one of my books had minus 143 for a bit. I just don't have nearly as much. It was minus 143 when I played it in some early week parlays and stuff. It's just hard with the way that the market has went on this for me to get like really heavily invested in it, because I think these numbers are like, they're chalky for a reason. Like they probably do win. I just don't know if there's any value in it there anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. When I look at that run, and of course it's made to make him look good, that's fine. But like Jose Medina, he doesn't really move out of the way of the strikes. He welcomes them. And so, you told me this one because you were spot on. You're like, he's going to absolutely blast this guy, knock him out. And he did. Knee up the middle, puts him over. Robert Valentin is a pretty similar level to Ozzy Diaz. He comes from a striking background. He's a little bit plodding, and he's there to get hit. He lands 19 significant strikes in 1 minute and 10. Like, it's like, everything he throws is landing, and it's landing flush. Tristan Vines, the first thing that hits him, topples him over. I think the guy's got big-time natural power. When you watch him on the regional scene before he even got to the UFC or the Contender Series, it's almost all first-round knockouts. The guy's got the touch of death. And what you need is a willing dance partner who's like, oh, well, I'm tough, and I'm a striker, and that's what Ozzy Diaz is. Ozzy Diaz is not really trying to get the fight to the ground. He's fought fellow strikers before, and the result was him getting knocked out. And against Gautier, especially if you're feeling, hey, I'm coming off my first UFC win. This guy looked very suspect his last time out against a striker who was outworking him. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stand right in his face and I'm going to outwork him. Buddy, do that. Do that. Because if you do that, I'm going to feel pretty good about this Gautier first round knockout prop. I just feel like he's going to line him up, and his power is just too much for Ozzy Diaz to overcome. So I'm a fan of Ozzy Diaz. Let's say he's my boy, Paul Shaughnessy. But I would say I'm definitely a fan of his work because he's entertaining, because he's one of these guys that'll stand in the pocket with you and throw down. But again, that's just not the path of victory to be taking against Ateba. And if you want to wrestle him, you're just going to tire yourself out in the process. Yeah. His other, because again, I mentioned he's got 3 pro losses. Mingyang Zhang knocks him out in 225. Joe Pyfer knocked him out in minute 39 of round 2. His other career loss, he got knocked out in 15 seconds by a guy that was 1-2. Santiago Diaz was 1-2 and knocked him out in 15 seconds. He can't take a punch. And so that paired off with your fighting the biggest puncher of the division. If you don't take him down, which it's not really in your game, this thing's not going to go well. So Gautier to get this thing done in violent fashion early.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm just talking about like the actual market and the numbers that are out there. Like these are not particularly fun, but yeah, I mean that's what I see happening as well. I'm just saying that there's really no value to be had. It kind of goes back to like your Khabib talk at the beginning of these things. It's just like Ateba Gautier is minus 1,800 now. His knockout prop is approaching minus 500. Him to win in round 1 is minus 200. It's just like the books they're not hanging too many freebies these days, It's tough. It's tough sometimes. But
Yeah,
I mean, Ateba to win in round 1 by knockout is also my pick. But it's just, how invested am I going to get in that this week? It's just like, I'll be happy for my boy, but like, I don't have to like financially burden myself for this play. That's all I was really saying about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. We got Yaroslav Amosov taking on Joel Alvarez. Amosov a -180 favorite. The comeback on Alvarez is +155. Who you got here?
I'm tempted to take Joel Alvarez, who, of course, is a guy that I love backing. He's just absolutely giant frame, big reach on him, and then really well-rounded everywhere. He's striking solid, good right hand, nasty elbows over the top. His ground game is solid, very opportunistic with his submissions, got a long guard because he's got those long legs. Seems like his cardio checks out for the most part. Seems like his durability, for the most part, is really not that bad. Like the guy, he's not been the most active over the years, but in the last little bit, he's been keeping active. He's been staying healthy. He's still a young man and really filling in. He used to fight at 155, kind of freak proportions. At 170, you can kind of see him really rounding out his game. His last time out against Vicente Luque could have been a first-round knockout. Like Vicente thought it was an eye poke. The ref called eye poke. They looked at the instant replay. It was a punch in the face. They resume it. It stole the momentum away from him. But outside of that, it's like, yeah, he may have knocked out Vicente Luque in the first round. Second round, he's dominating as well. The third round, he decides to coast because he had just been up so heavy in the first two. But the guy's kind of got everything that you want. The thing I don't love about him is I think with being tall like that, 6'3", 77-inch reaches, like his takedown defense is not great. I mean, he only shows a 47% in the UFC, but it's more so because he's really good off his back. He's okay with getting taken down. And against most guys, like Drakkar Klose or something like that, you can get away with that. If Mark Diaz is shooting takedowns on you, you can get away with that. You can maybe just catch those guys in a submission. It's Yaroslav Amosov, that's not exactly going to be the easiest path. It's like, this guy's got good wrestling. He's really stout when he's on top. Of course, he's got his own darts set up and anaconda set up and loves the front headlock series. But beyond that, it's just like, yeah, he's a pretty stout guy who's very, very difficult to take down. Mm-hmm. And then if he gets you down, it's like his top control is pretty solid. When you watch him in Bellator, he was a counter wrestler. So they would give him guys like Ed Ruth. They would give him guys like Logan Storley. And he could just stuff their takedowns like nothing. As he stuffs them, he makes them work. He boxes them up. He puts them away. The Jason Jackson fight's a weird one. The war had broken out between Ukraine. He's kind of not training as hard as maybe he should. Jason Jackson, not really known for his knockout power, sparks the guy. Then he takes the time off. It's since he's come back. Quick win over Curtis Millender, but more so than Neil Magny fight his last time out. Magny's a serviceable gatekeeper to the stars, right? The guy can do it all. He's got good cardio. He's got good durability. He can grapple. He can strike. He's known for taking people into deep waters, and he exposes them. And like with Amosov, is a quick takedown, quick setup, dominates. The grappling is at that level, and he's stout, he's strong on top. Against Joel Alvarez, if the fight just stays standing, Alvarez could keep him on the end of those shots, land some knees up the middle, hurt this guy, sting him, keep him honest, and win 2 of the 3 rounds. Not a terrible underdog bet to go Joel Alvarez. But in a game that is usually dominated by wrestling, and we've discussed this at length with the vast majority of the card, definitely the vast majority of the main card, where it's like there's a wrestling advantage here where you get the takedowns, you're on top. If you're on top, that time all of a sudden becomes the enemy to your opponent who's just watching it tick away as he's trying to create space and scramble back up to his feet. Amosov should not only have the wrestling advantage, but because he's taking on a guy, Joel Alvarez, that really doesn't really try to stuff the takedowns that much, I feel like the takedowns are going to be there. And if they're there, I'm not really so sure that Alvarez is going to be catching him in some submission off his back. It's going to be some ground and pound coming from Amosov. Joel Alvarez at his best, we talked about it. But Vicente Luque kind of at the end of the rope. He's moved up to 185 and picked up a win. Can't take that away from him. But I got it's nearing the end. Drakkar close to retirement. Elvis Brenner, very undersized. Mark Diaz cut from the organization. Thiago Moises should be cut from the organization. It's really that Arman Sarukian fight. And I hate to bring it up because it's Arman Sarukian. But that's what easy takedowns and control time can do for a guy, right? Arman Sarukian fights
top of the food chain, in fairness.
He's top of the food chain, and he's 155 pounds, and he's 5'7", right? Fair. So now you're getting a former Bellator champion who's like 23-1, who's just much bigger, and like he's probably going to get takedowns and end up with some top control. If he can just neutralize your submission attempts and land a bit of ground and pound, he's going to be up 2 rounds. If he's up 2 rounds, you need to knock him out, which of course is possible because I don't think Amosov's the most durable guy. But since he's come back to American top team, since he's cleared his head, since he's got back in shape, he might be lying. He might not be 32. You watch interviews on him, he looks like an old man. But damn, he looked good against Neil Magny. And I think that Neil, who is a long, rangy, predominantly grappler, in some ways mimics a Joel Alvarez. It's like, yeah, then do the same thing, man. Get the takedown, make it early, set up shop on top. If he wants to scramble and try to get back up, make him, really carry on to your weight, but also just make him expose the neck. Try to grab the Darce again. If you can't grab the submission, just snap him back down, get back into half guard, and then repeat. But use your grappling to win this fight. Alvarez has got all the skills in the world. It's that he doesn't make enough of a conscious effort to keep the fight standing when guys shoot on him. He's just way too confident, I'll scoop up the neck. Against Amosov, that doesn't present itself. It's not going to be great. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's a good fight. I understand there's a lot of merit in Alvarez. I like Alvarez, but not enough for me to back him this week. I got to go with Amosov. There was a weird opener, right? What can you see the opening line on Joel Alvarez?
Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, you can take your time on that. And it's a soft opener.
Let me don't click on that. I'll click on this here. I mean, God, that stuff doesn't matter, man.
It does not matter. But to me, I could not figure out why he was plus 330 on the opener. It was like, oh, baby, we got a dog of the weekend coming. And now he's nearly a 2-1 favorite. So there's not. Yeah, do you feel better about it? No, you don't. Now there's no value, and it's not worth the risk anymore. But you got to pick somebody. And for me, it's going to be the Ukrainian.
I don't even know. I'm trying to work my way up to find out.
1 minute, 10 minutes. Was it 10 minutes?
It's probably less than that, man. Like, I'm gonna unclick which book that is, but like, I feel like with some of that stuff, especially for UFC, and I know nothing. This is just an opinion. I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, but it's like, some of those openers, I feel like it's just like maybe the guy who sets them is like texting his buddies being like, this will be a really high. You're going to get CLV on this one. They post a real crazy one. They know exactly which direction those numbers are going to come in. They know when they're going to come in. And it's like how many, people on the third party tracking and stuff like that. That's the biggest red flag. If you have somebody who's just like, fine. Yeah. I have 5 units on Amosov plus 330. It's just like, well, that guy's an absolute fraud. You know what I mean? Because it's like you have to be there literally the moment that it drops.
Yeah, but even if you were there when it opened, right?
You may still not get it.
Well, yeah, but they're going to let you put $100 on it, right? Or
I
some
think
people
the UFC one's open at like 250.
So depending on your
it's not nothing.
It's most definitely not nothing. But what happens is you get $100 down or you get 250 down, and then you tell people, hey, look at this bet slip, and it doesn't really have the wager number, but it does have that you have him at plus 330. And you can say it's a 10-unit bet, and you can track it as a 10-unit bet. And all of a sudden the guy wins and you're up 33 units on this show. Like, it's all smoke and mirrors, man. It's like either the guy wins or he doesn't. My only point of even bringing it up, because I don't believe it's a real line. I don't.
It was probably there for literally 5 minutes at most.
Yeah. That's the state of betting where it's like, hey, I got a dog of the week. This guy's plus 300. Okay, well, he's plus 200 now. Still the dog of the week. Okay, well, he's plus 100 now. Yeah, I guess it is close to a 50-50 fight. Yeah, that makes sense. Now he's minus 180. But you think he's going to win. You just told these people he's going to win. You just told people he was the dog of the week, and this guy's got a good win probability, and you're backing him. And now all of a sudden he's minus 180.
It's 50-50.
Yeah, you're back to, well, it's a 50-50 fight, and I thought I was getting plus 300. And then by the time my book opened it was plus 175. And then by the time that you got any type of real money down on it, he's minus 140, and then he's minus 180. Like, it all just moves fast. So you always got to be weary of, I'm up 4 units, I'm up 6 units, I'm tracked on bet stamp on whatever, and I'm up 8 units over the last 4 years. I show 4 straight profitable years. I'm not taking a shot at anybody personally. That is honestly rude of me. I'm not trying to like talk shit. I'm not. I'm just saying, yeah, some of these openers are weird and CLV's weird. And who's the guy that set the line on a 50-50 fight at plus 330 Amosov? Like at plus 330, that means that that his opponent was what? Minus 500 was his opening line for Joel Alvarez is minus 500. And now Joel Alvarez is plus money. What's going on? Nothing's going on. You'll see somebody on Twitter saying, oh, he got paid. And someone's going to say, oh, it's going to be a dive. And then someone says, oh, no, there's an injury. And then someone puts out a picture of Wayne and says, oh, he's got a staph infection. Like it's just bullshit. It's bottom line, it's all just bullshit. So just take who you think is going to win and have a good reason for why you think he's going to win. To me, it's Amosov's top game in his wrestling. How does he get himself caught? A knee right up the middle that busts his face, But outside of that, I think he's going to get the positions he wants. And Joel Alvarez took his foot off the gas his last time out against Vicente Luque. He just starts coasting. Like that's not enough for me, man. You got to do a little bit more sometimes in a close fight. This is a close fight if you're not willing to go that extra mile, and Amosov collects the win. But it's going to be Amosov by decision on a personal note.
Fair. You make some good points about that. I'm going to say dog or pass, but I'm a coward, so I'll probably pass on this fight. And that's the funny thing about like some of these, is this fight rigged, the line movement, yada, yada, yada. We see it in UFC. The amount of money it takes to move UFC is totally different, but it's just like, for instance, on like this ACA card, it's just like on Thursday night, the line movement you will see there. And frankly, let's face it, it's ACA. It's ran by a dictator wanted for war crimes who's like buddies with Putin. It may actually be rigged, but I speculate sometimes about some of the decisions, some of the fighters' performances. Like it may be rigged, but it's just like those types of line movements are just like, oh yeah, it's Thursday night. Like that's just the markets are getting manipulated by forces that are playing a different game than little guy Cody and Paul. I'll just say that. Not to belittle you, Cody, but there's big fish, there's big sharks out there in the waters these days, and we're a couple barracudas, I would say.
Yeah, well, there's a whole other level to it for sure, and I think that
100%.
was one of the biggest takeaways from. It's like you could get $10,000 on a fight and you're like, whoa, dude, I got $10,000 on this. Or some books, they're going to let you take down 20, 25. I've never been accepted for more than a $25,000 wager on any book at any point in my betting career ever. That's the highest they've ever let me get down.
Bet online?
I don't know a book that lets you get $50,000.
Bet online on a money line?
Let me put more than 25,000? No.
Maybe on like fight day for this card? I bet
on fight day?
You probably would. Yeah.
Well, certainly not live. Their live market's absolutely dead. But I'm not looking to do it on this card. Let's say that. But at the same time, it's like that's been. I'm not saying I'm limited. I'm saying I'm capped. It's like that's where they feel like taking their action. Where you'll see these Drake slips where it's like Drake put $1 million on the fight. It's like, you gotta be on the phone with somebody, and then they're gonna put you through this VIP service, and then they're gonna let you talk to this guy, and then this guy's got a gauge like. Not Matty Betts, some other guy's whole shtick is he goes to Circa and he has a duffel bag full of cash and he pours the money down and he gets $850,000 on this play.
Sean Perry wins. Yeah, that guy.
Sean Perry wins. It's funny. It's funny content. I'm in. But that's not been my experience. If you were in Vegas, it's different. Like we met with the managing director at Circuit Fit, super cool guy. He was like, listen, you guys want to ball? We can ball. It was like, what about taxes? Like, don't worry about the taxes unless you win. It's like, okay, fair enough. Like this guy. You got to be hey man, we've had an account with you for a while and we saw you've made one of these $800,000 bets and you've lost twice and now you're trying to recoup some and you won for 240 but you lost for 340. Yeah, you got an account there. They're going to take your action. You're live with cash in Las Vegas.
They got to know
someone's taking your
action. Damage for sure.
Yeah, but on some online offshore, you're trying to put $100,000 down.
I mean, you can do rebets on Bet Online. You're gonna mess up the number, right? But like for instance, like on Strickland, if you could put $10,000 right now down, $10,000 USD down right now to return 400 or 42,500. Which I mean, these are not wagers that I'm making. That's above my stakes, but that's in play as of a Wednesday. So I bet you those will go up to at least 20K per click when we get to Saturday. I don't know. I bet online. It's just like I'm not maxing it out, but there's plenty of other books where it's just like I am maxing it out regularly. I mean, every book's a little bit different. You gotta play within whatever system they're putting in place there. What are you doing over there? What are you clicking around for?
Yeah, sorry.
How much you can get down?
No.
Click on Strickland and tell me how much Dave Mason will let you get down right now.
No, my
if it's less than 10K, then you're limited, bro. And we would be finding this out on the show right now. If you click, If you click Strickland, you click Max. What does it say?
Let me tell you right now. 1 second.
Oh, this.
No. I gotta sign in.
Okay.
I wasn't doing okay. Sean Strickland, sports.
This is great television.
This is great television. Okay. Let's see. Moment of truth. Sean Strickland. Click. Max bet.
10K.
10K.
Yeah.
So you think they're gonna open it up beyond 25?
Yeah, that should be 20 grand on Saturday. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, and like what I have found is that they'll let me get down 10K right here on Sean Strickland, and then tomorrow they'll let me get down another 10K on Sean Strickland. They won't say, "Hey, it's been max," but they're not taking it all in one sum. But I guess I've never tried to hammer down something like that on fight day because it's usually something you bet a little bit more. Yeah, well, we'll test that theory come fight.
There's been more time for the markets. Like they're more confident with their numbers by the time you get to fight day. So, and that's why sometimes you see a lot of the big market moves on Sunday. So a lot of these guys, they're just watching these numbers all week, and then whether they win or lose is different. But like these guys are throwing around millions of dollars over the course of the entire market. They got accounts at Bet Online, FanDuel, DraftKings, Pinnacle. You know what I mean? It's just like they are all acting in unison. And I think that's sometimes where people are like, "Oh, it's rigged." It's just like, nah, there's just heavy hitters that are like in a crew that all think something's gonna hit, because it doesn't always work like that. Steam doesn't always hit. So it's one of those things that people are going to have to like get used to, because not every single time there's a big line move doesn't mean that something's rigged or fixed or something like that. You know, I think that's what at the end of the day here, right?
Yeah, that is the bottom line.
That is the bottom, because Cody Saptic said so. We got Grant Dawson taking on Mateusz Rębecki. Dawson, minus 165 favorite. The comeback on Alligator Arms Rębecki is plus 145. Tricky fight. I mean, Dawson's a great grappler, but I struggle with his striking ability. I struggle with his ability to take damage more than anything. Rębecki, for what you may not like about him, you know, short arms, puts up a lot of volume, takes a lot of damage, but he can take it. He can take those shots. Unless, like, I mean, if you even go like oral buy, like this fight, he won a split decision against oral buy, went, you know, toe to toe with the guy, ate some absolute bombs, dangerous fight all the way around. Duncan, by the numbers, you know, kind of maybe should have won that fight. Klein, maybe not the greatest performance. Every single one of his fights is pretty close. So when it really comes down to it, he's probably got a striking edge. Yeah, sure, he could get taken down, controlled. Pretty good at getting back up. And when he lands with conviction. For me, it's dog or pass in what I could expect to be a close competitive fight. Your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I just probably just taking the easy way out, but Grant Dawson with the wrestling advantage. Dawson cannot take a punch. You've outlined that pretty clearly. I think everybody is aware of it by now. Him getting knocked out by Bobby Green, the first punch that landed, that's one thing. Manuel Torres, he hits like an absolute ton of bricks, but he stuffs both takedowns and he knocks him out. Dawson's probably one kryptonite, probably is that, you know, if you can stuff the wrestling, if you can keep this fight standing and you've got a modicum of power, it's like he loses his equilibrium pretty quick, goes down, shells up, and then that's all she wrote. Rębecki has got that dog in him, guys. Polish, he's short, he's stout, he's going to come forward. His last 3 fights have been fight of the night. Like, the guy puts it on. But his cardio is not great. He seems to slow down pretty effectively after about a round. And I do think that if you just take him down, neutralize him, cause him to carry your weight, don't engage him in this firefight, you could have some success. Rębecki definitely could stuff some of the takedowns, keeps his fight standing and land that knockout. I think that's possible. It just doesn't seem like he's the biggest power puncher outside of the win over Loic-Radzividanov. It's a lot of swinging, it's a lot of hitting his opponents, it's a lot of crashing the pocket and coming forward, but not necessarily like any big technique. No sharp counters, more so just dogging it, right? Trying to be a brute, trying to brawl with you a little bit, land those shots, and then try to get his own wrestling going. I rate Grant Dawson as a better wrestler. I rate Grant Dawson as a better grappler, and I do think he's got the cardio edge. It's about getting this thing out of the first round, extending him, getting to those takedowns. If you're Dawson, it's like you're a prize fighter, right? And with that comes that you're going to get hit. And with that, in your case, you may be getting knocked out. So, like, you can't be, it's not good for his career longevity or his ranking placement to be getting knocked out. He needs to get to the wrestling early and often. Against Torres, looking back, it's like I probably should have tried to wrestle more. But I'm on a 3-fight winning streak, and Bobby Green was a fluky punch. Wasn't a fluky punch. And this is what's going to happen if you get away from your wrestling. So what do you think he does for this one? You think he comes down and decides to pump out his jab and try to line up Rębecki for a right hand? No, I think he's going to be on that single leg immediately. Get him up against the cage, neutralize the space, rip him to the ground, cause him to carry your weight. I am taking Grant Dawson, and I'm not going to fault anybody taking that dog shot on Rębecki for the slight reason that there's a path of victory there. Is that all I got to do is stuff a few of these takedowns. All I got to do is get out of the first round and see the start of the second or see the start of the third. And if I can just see through a couple of these stand-up positions, then yeah, he can land. And if he lands, he can knock out Grant Dawson. So if the money's right, you can get a good plus money tag. I wouldn't be faulting anybody there. But what I would say is that Rębecki's not going to win a decision. So if you are going to bet Rębecki, take that KO prop. That's his win condition. He's live to do it. But I more so see it's going to be a Grant Dawson by decision. Could Grant lock up a submission? It's possible. But especially coming off of a knockout loss, I think he's just going to mind his P's and Q's, take the path of least resistance, play it safe, so to speak, get back in the win column, and then at some point you'll see him open up a little bit more. But Grant Dawson for decision as far as I'm concerned.
I'm feeling generous, Cody. Want to add this to the tab?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to just give you, I'm just going to let you, you came in, you'd had a rough day today. I'm just going to call this one for one. So I'm already up 2 on you. It'll be 3. If Rębecki wins, you'll be down to 1. If Grant Dawson wins. So I'll write that down so I don't forget.
Giving me a 1 for 1. You're such a good man, Paul.
I'm just giving you.
Yes,
I'm just giving you 10%, just 10% market value on a shoey bet. What a great guy! What a great guy!
You are a good guy. No one's denying that, Paul.
No one's denying. And I'm sure there are some people, but I don't care.
That's it. You need to talk for a few minutes though, because I gotta plug in. That's what I was clicking at earlier. It's like my charge is somehow not charging. But yeah. Ride the pine for a minute or two. I'll be right back.
I will try to ride the pine here. All right, moving on down. We've got Jared Gordon taking on Jim Miller. Jared Gordon is a minus 300 favorite. The comeback on Jim Miller is plus 250. Let's hop on over to there. One thing I'm always doing over here is writing in my time codes here, boys. If you're wondering what Paul, I'm not typing. I'm not writing love letters to anybody. It's literally just trying to type in. That's why I hand it over to Cody a lot of times too, because typing and writing at the same time, my brain doesn't exactly work that way. Am I just filling time for the sake of filling time? Yes, you are picking up on that. But God, it's hard to not cheer for Jim Miller. This week you saw, Cody mentioned on the show as well, if you hadn't seen the reports about it, but it's like his son got cancer. And like, this is the guy who also had Lyme disease, and he's fought through that. We're at the end of the line here. He's almost 43 years old. There can't be too many fights left for a one Jim Miller at this point in his career. I'm hoping for him, but like, let's face it, it's just like as time goes on, the volume isn't really quite there. The offensive wrestling isn't really quite there. Jared Gordon, love him or hate him, I mean, frankly, I think he got robbed against Paddy Pimblett back in 2022. Rafa Garcia, I mean, I guess we over here at this podcast are underestimating Rafa Garcia because he went out there and put on a show against Hernandez last time out there. So Gordon's been fighting some pretty high level of competition. Jim Miller doesn't really put up the volume anymore. He can't really wrestle. I struggled to see where Jim Miller wins this fight this week. So are you back at this point, Cody?
I am back, but it's not charging. My bad day is just taking another bad turn. So I'm going to rip through these last few.
We will rip through these. I'm picking Jared Gordon. Despite the fact that I want Jim Miller to win, it's just like he's probably got a whole bunch of distractions at this point. It's even at minus 300. He's like, I think I'm out on the Jim Miller experiment at this point. Your thoughts, quick?
Yeah. Jim Miller, again, I'm not saying he's fighting for the paycheck, but 39 years old, been around, he's getting up there, been around for a long time. You know, he's a consummate professional, blue-collar guy. But, yeah, how does he match up against Jared Gordon? Well, I mean, he used to have his wrestling, Jim did, but it's not really as effective anymore. Jared Gordon matches him in that department. He's a BJJ black belt. Well, so is Jared Gordon. You know, the striking, he's got some okay technical boxing. Jared Gordon, really not that bad. And, you know, I heard you mention it, the Rafa Garcia fight. It's like Jared Gordon got hit by a car like 3 days earlier, gave Rafa Garcia everything he could handle, got caught in the third round, but like his technical striking looked pretty decent to that point. I feel like he's just one step ahead of Jim in all the categories. So we all love Jim Miller. Again, it's like, how could you not like this guy? You hear his story, you want to root for him, but yeah, it's business at the end of the day. And Jared Gordon's just kind of like one step advanced. So if anybody knows of a bus or a car that has hit Jared Gordon in the last few days, let me know. Because otherwise, I think if this guy shows up in shape, he's got this fight. So I'm with you there, Jared Gordon.
We got Marco Tulio taking on Roman Kopylov. Tulio, a minus 190 favorite to come back on Kopylov, plus 165. Who you got?
I got Tulio. Tulio's got good volume. Now, I understand his last time out, it's like a bit of a not great look. But the thing with CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan, is that he's super dynamic and he hits really hard. So with Tulio, he wants to kind of stay in your face and just throw high volume. You see in this fight with Duclos or Io Paterio or Trayshawn Gore, where he lands 127 significant strikes through like 3.5, or I think it was halfway into the third round. The guy's big volume, but against guys that move well and can counter, he's not exactly the most, reliable guy. Thing with Kopylov is that he's prone to getting outworked. His last 4 fights, he's been outlanded in all 4 of them. Gregory Rodriguez outlanded him 90-52. Paulo Costa outlanded him 99-48. Chris Curtis was outlanding him 142-130. Even against Cesar Almeida, he was getting outstruck 58-41. He's tried to add wrestling to his game. He's tried to add different things to his game. He is a rangy striker at his best, and he's prone to getting outworked now. The Paulo Costa one was really everything you need to know. He's just way too complacent sitting there and getting hit. And Tulio's the kind of guy that's just going to keep throwing those numbers at you. So they're both good strikers. It'll be a good, fun, competitive fight, but I feel like Tulio's volume is going to drown him out, certainly in those last couple rounds. So 29-28 bare minimum, but it's going to be a Tulio decision.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add there. That's kind of my thought, but don't necessarily love laying chalk on Tulio this week, to be perfectly honest. Pat Sabatini takes on William Gomis. Pat Sabatini is like a minus 220 favorite, minus 200 favorite. Come back on Gomis, plus 170. I mean, with all of Pat's, like, Sabatini's such a great grappler, such a wicked submission specialist. We have seen Gomis taken down in some fights. My question with Gomis, and what I really couldn't find when I was watching tape, is like, what is his? Is he able to fend off submissions? His fights in the octagon. I mean, if that end of round 1 against Joe Anderson Brito is extended like 10 seconds, very possible that Gomis is subbed by a guillotine right at the end of round 1 there. He kind of left his neck out there. 17 is a guy that I don't necessarily love. He's very, very one-dimensional, but that one dimension is
so good.
He's so freaking solid, man, that when he's in the zone, if he's not messing around, he doesn't want to test his striking out. If this fight's on the feet, he's going to get picked apart by William Gomis. But it's like, he sticks to the game plan. I don't know, man. Sabatini by sub has my attention too, because it's like plus 200. And I have question marks about what I don't think Gomis has been in there with somebody of this caliber. So Plus 223. I mean, I guess it's as high as plus 260 somewhere out there. Sabatini by sub. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically featherweight Sean Brady. He gets you down and you're in an absolute world of trouble. And he does have some college wrestling background to add to that. So Pat Sabatini is the man. Now, how does he lose fights is when he doesn't shoot the takedowns. Of course, the Diego Lopez fight, I got a new wrinkle I'm going to show the fans. No, show them the old wrinkle, the one where you take guys down and control them.
And that was Lopez.
And that's Lopez. And, Damon Jackson, it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of like, okay, Jackson lost his grandma. He was super fired up. He just came in looking to throw hands, and Pat Sabatini obliged him. That is not the way to go. All of his wins, he gets a takedown other than Jamal Emmers, where he rolled onto a heel hook after Emmers took him down, or he fell to the ground. Emmers got on top, and then he just grabbed the heel hook. Regardless, it's like all of his wins is him getting his wrestling going. His last time out against Chepe Mariscal, he made it look easy. 7 takedowns against a guy who's a judo black belt. That's the path of victory. He knows it. He'll take it. Gomis is a poor man's Taylor Lapalus. He's fleet-footed. He's a non-power puncher, sticks the jab, moves his feet. Athletic, can fight rangy, has some speed, lacks power. But really, he gets taken down by basically everybody. Robert Ruchala, his last time out, took him down twice. Hyder Emil took him down. Joannis Brito, as you mentioned, had the 3 takedowns on him. Francis Marshall, once upon a time, had got a couple takedowns on him. Pat Sabatini is a far better wrestler and grappler than all those guys. He'll get takedowns. And once he does get those takedowns, he'll rack up long periods of control time if he doesn't outright grab the submission. So I see where you're coming from. I'd want a little bit better than a plus 200. So I kind of lean towards more of that Sabatini by decision.
Fair play. We got Baysangur Susurkaev taking on Jordan Santos. Susurkaev is a minus 725, minus 800 favorite to come back on Santos plus 525. And I see people out there, Susurkaev was a guy I actually faded. Like his opponent was like 16-1 on the regional scene, like at some point. It was this guy, and it didn't look pretty because some of these earlier fights for Susurkaev weren't so pretty. He looked super green. It wasn't the most optimal situation. He went out there against this Kukachiti guy, and he embarrassed him. Great performance against a really slow plodding guy in Ali on Contender Series, and then Nolan and McConical. I mean, that McConical win coming off, McConical coming off of the performance against Vieira is kind of aging like a fine wine, I suppose, to a degree right now. What I see in Santos is one, you kind of mentioned in one of our previous breakdowns, very, very hittable. I think that's going to help Susurkaev at least compete in those ranges. His game isn't completely coming together yet, but he does have power in his hands, as witnessed by knocking out McConical in round 3 there. Well, I see Santos so many times going to like standing cage control and trying to get into those types of exchanges in pretty much all of his fights. Like, against Barlow, pushing him up against the cage, against Ozzy Diaz, pushing him up against the cage. Will Curry fight on the Contender Series was kind of like that as well. It's just, if you're pushing into those positions against one of these, EV, OV Russians with this type of pedigree and skill and ability, you're going to have a bad time. You're not winning in those ranges. So while, you know me, I love hitting underdogs and stuff like that. It won't be Santos. I got to figure out whether it's an over or under or something like that to do with this fight. But Susurkaev is, I ain't stepping in front of that train this week. You?
Yeah, like Susurkaev as a prospect looks good. He's 25 years old. He's at a Kill Cliff FC. He's probably getting better and better. But yeah, there's a problem with one of these green prospects that are still kind of in those learning stages that are prone to making mistakes that you don't want to jump in too heavy. And he's a great example. Like wins in the Contender Series. They let him debut in the UFC 4 days later. He didn't look great in that first round against Eric Nolan. Then his last time out against Eric McConico, it's 1-1 going into the third. There's at least a small argument that he could be down 0-2 going into the third, and he catches McConico. So it's nice to see the resolve. It's nice to see this power carry to the third round. It's nice to see that he does have that fight-ending ability, and he can kind of use it in the first or in the third. That's all good stuff. But the only issue I'm worried about is that Jordan Santos is just a volume guy. That's it. There's nothing he does that's all that impressive, as much as he just constantly keeps that work rate high. So Susurkaev, I feel like he's more prone to falling behind the 8 ball, looking for that big shot, as opposed to what Jordan Santos is doing, which is just throwing caution in the wind and constantly, trying to stay in your face and stay aggressive and wear you down. As a young fighter, it's like, what do I got to hit this guy with? Or, man, he just keeps throwing and throwing and throwing and throwing. I'm getting tired trying to keep that pace. You can make mistakes for sure. But when you look at prospects, Susurkaev is very much one of them, whereas Jordan Santos just ain't it. And you've made a great example outlining a lot of these, but that Will Curry fight. Will Curry got the 2 takedowns, right? And on 12 attempts or something, but Curry's gassed the entire time. He's gassed. And yet he still does some okay work. The Ozzy Diaz fight, it's like you can see that when volume isn't enough, there's really no plan B. And even his last fight against Danny Barlow, it's much of the same. Just try to outwork Barlow. Susurkaev's got a good wrestling advantage, good grappling advantage. He takes his fight to the ground, that'll make it look easy. If he doesn't take his fight to the ground, he's really going to have to rely on stinging and hurting his opponent, because otherwise Jordan Santos is going to be there all night. So it's another play where I got the favorite and I'm taking the prospect, but there's just no meat on the bone. There's inadvertent risk associated with this fight. He could get outworked. He could drop the first round, maybe a better live betting spot, but all the same, we got to do pre-fight picks, and Susurkaev is the best pre-fight pick.
Yep, no real disagreements there. Finally, we got Jose Ochoa taking on Clayton Carpenter. Ochoa minus 175 favorite to come back on. Carpenter is plus 150. Your thoughts?
Gonna take another dog shot here. It's flyweight. It's a division I like taking the random underdog because they generally do fight pretty valiantly and keep it close. And with Clayton Carpenter, it's hard to figure out what exactly is his issue. I mean, he can strike, he can wrestle, he can grapple. Guys had a lot of success in gi and no gi jiu-jitsu tournaments. Wrestled a little bit back in high school, nothing really notable, but he's a very well-rounded guy. Trains out of the MMA lab, comes in with a good game plan. Just seems like in those last 2 fights, Tagir Rębecki, he gave him a go, gave him a real go. 1-1 going into the third, just couldn't stuff the takedowns, couldn't get up. And against Jafel Filo, taken down again and subbed almost immediately. There's definitely limitations to his game, and Ochoa is a better striker, has more volume, has more power, is a scrambling guy. Ochoa most definitely can go ahead and win this fight. Reason I find myself looking at the slight underdog is Ochoa's takedown defense is maybe a little bit vulnerable, and we have seen him taken down twice by Cody Diorden and taken down 7 times by Asu Almubayev. It's more so for me that Almubayev fight, where of the 7 takedowns, he gave up 9.5 minutes of control time. Clayton Carpenter is going to come in with a good game plan. He's fast. He's a pretty athletic guy. I do feel like he'll be able to use his striking enough to keep Ochoa guessing, and then he needs to level change. He needs to get to the hips. He needs to drive this guy into the canvas. No doubt about it. If it stays standing, Ochoa is going to win the fight. It's can Clayton Carpenter kind of maneuver it to where he wants it. And with Ochoa, you know how I love my Peruvian fighters. He's durable. He's got good cardio, but the hips just ain't there. The takedown defense just isn't quite there. I do think he's got superior striking, as I mentioned, and big power advantage as well. But if you're getting taken down repeatedly and getting held up against the cage, maybe that's all going to just be a moot point. Regular fighters may come in and chase the bonus. Regular fighters may say, hey, I've lost my last 2 fights grappling. I'm looking to strike this time out. But being that he's with John Crouch in the MMA lab, I do feel like they'll give him the sound advice, which is, listen, man, this guy's got your number in terms of being on the feet. You are faster than him. So try to matador him, stick him with the jab, get him to get a little bit desperate, make him get sloppy, have him crash the pocket, get him, to be flat-footed. And then at that point, you're going to have to level change, get on the hips, get onto a leg, single leg, double leg, get him up against the cage, try for some trips. And when you take him down, it's staple him to the mat. That's the name of the game. Staple this man to the mat. So the fact that he was able to take down Rębecki one time, the fact that he was able to win a few wrestling exchanges here and there shows that the kid can wrestle and his jiu-jitsu is good. He's just got to put 2 and 2 together, use the wrestling, get to the ground, control him, squeak out a victory that way. But it ain't going to be pretty. I don't think that I got a ton of confidence in this one. He probably is the PRP pick because regardless of me taking a few other underdogs, Carpenter's the one that I still, could change. I'm not fully sold on it. But it's a 13-fight card. I need at least 3 underdogs, and Carpenter just happened to fill the void for me.
You don't really need three underdogs.
No, but I tell myself
that's a fact. That's a fallacy.
It is a fallacy, and we watch a lot of PFL and LFA and various cards, and a lot of it is favorite heavy. These guys are supposed to win. The promotion has an added investment in these fighters, and they probably will go out and pick up the win one way or another. But yeah, like anything, it's like you don't really see 13 fights and 13 favorites. Even last week, it's like it was not a good week. I think I went 10-3 overall. Got 10 winners, got 3 wrong. But those 3 wrong are 3 underdogs. They're 3 underdogs that came through that you didn't see coming and end up costing you it. So you're right. There's no magical numbers. Just like anything, if I'm the bookmaker, if I'm setting these lines, someone says, Cody, who's the favorite? Strickland over Chimaev. It's like Chimaev. Van over Taira. Yeah, that one's actually 50-50 to be honest. Everything else, though, Volkov, Sean Brady, not that I'm picking these guys, King Bobby Green, Ateba Gautier, they're all the clear favorite. These guys should be the favorite. They've got more tenure. They've got bigger wins. They've got more experience. And then it doesn't matter because it's a fight. It's a one-off. Yeah, you've got more experience, but you've also got a half-torn labrum. And yeah, this guy's fought some bigger guys, but he's lost 3 in a row, and he's at the tail end of his career. Like, there's just so many X factors, if, ands, or buts that get played into it, right? So favorite heavy cards just don't happen as much anymore. You get a lot of these few underdogs are going to sneak through. You can point out 5 or 6 underdogs that you like on this card, but how many are you taking? Sean Strickland, there's an underdog with a chance, and there's good value. Josh Van's an underdog with a chance. Waldo Acosta is an underdog with a chance. Joaquin Buckley, not Jeremy Stevens, not Ozzy Diaz. To me, not Jim Miller. To me, not Roman Kopylov. William Gomis, maybe. Carpenter, sure, yes. You can outline that there's 5 or 6 good dogs. But how many of them are you actually going to lock in and seal? 2, 3, 4. It all depends on the card, I suppose. But
no, I would say that the card is irrelevant. The card is irrelevant. How many underdogs are going to hit on any individual card? It's just irrelevant. Like the card and how the fights are all on the same card doesn't matter. Each individual fight is really the only thing that you should be thinking about.
Yeah,
you don't need four underdogs on.
I get it.
Like if there's a 17 fight ACA card, do I need 5 underdogs? Maybe because somebody's taking a dive. But like at the UFC level, do I need it? I don't know. You
don't need those underdogs, assuming you're just, hey, I'm just looking to bet a guy or 2 guys. Then what's the matter? You got an underdog. This is it's a full card parlay. That's the PRP. So if you had 17 ACA fights and you were taking 17 favorites, do you think that's going to hit?
No.
Of course not. If you were betting 17 fights and you had 13 favorites and 4 underdogs, do you think that hits? I think he's got a shot. I think about 4 or 5 underdog. Well, because it's a 17 fight parlay. You can't exactly be the most optimistic about it. I'm just saying, if you just, I like this guy, I like that guy, then who cares? You don't have to stretch yourself for a few underdogs. I get that. But yeah, for me, it's like I got to take a few of them here and there. I'll admit, Clayton Carpenter is my least favorite of the underdogs. But for the rest of them, it's like if I told you, hey, Paul, I got this little thing, and favorites are going to hit on 70% of the fights for the rest of the year. And I can guarantee the favorites will hit on 70%. Yeah, but how do you load it up? Because you don't know.
If there's 70% of underdogs are going to hit
no,
I bet every underdog.
When I say underdogs, I meant favorites. 70% of favorites are going to hit.
Anything under minus 233. I would just bet anything minus 150s, minus 170s. Just hit them all.
Yeah, and it's a 10 fight card, and you've bet all 10 of them, and you're going to get 3 wrong. And then for parlay purposes, you don't really know which 3 are going to be wrong. And it's kind of easier said than done. Like I remember Rockstar Z had his little theory. Well, he was pretending to be a robot, and he said he had an algorithm. Yeah, shout out. He was an OG of sorts, but can handle the heat, I guess. I actually do like the guy. I'm not trying to say anything negative. But he came back as a robot, and he said he had an algorithm, and then people would ask him questions, and he would say, oh, I'll ask the robot. And then he eventually came out saying, I lost all my money, and I'm leaving the game, and I'm not gambling anymore. His algorithm was he saw that the younger fighter wins 67% of the time. So I can guarantee, I don't even have to do any tape research. I just know that on these cards, you can just bet the younger fighter in every single one of them, and you're going to win 68% of your bets, but you still lose money because you're betting younger guys at favorite status. And when the underdogs come through, you lose. Like you're not betting. I'm not winning 68% of my even money picks. It's 68% in total. So yeah, this guy's a minus 1,800 favorite. Thibaut Gautier is younger than Ozzy Diaz. Okay, great. Well, he's part of that 68%. And then, you know, somewhere else on the card, some of the older dogs wins. And it just, it's you got to get real critical because it's a game of margins, Paul. You know this is better than anybody. You can't hang out in this game long enough unless you're trying to get the best number you can. You're trying to get some plus money where you can. You're trying to get some, same thing with the top line on the PRP. If I can get it to plus money and I only hit my top line, I'll be profitable. But the last number of years, your top line isn't plus money anymore because it's two guys that are minus 450 now. There's a minus 400 and there's a minus 290. Whereas it used to be a guy that was minus 190 and a guy that was minus 240. And like that was plus money. And you just need to hit those two guys. If you hit the next two guys and you hit four guys, you're guaranteed plus 300. Now, sometimes I'm putting the PRP together and it's like my second line's minus 180. I need four guys to hit plus 180 for four guys. Like that's where it's like, well, the PRP is not going to work there. Go and hit one single prop for plus 180 is way easier to hit one single thing than to have four guys all do exactly the right thing. So
yeah, it's hard. PRPs are hard. And I always tell people that it's just like, I mean, I do these PRPs for like the ACA cards for you guys. And yeah, it's just like, it's really, really challenging. That seems to be what people want, but it's hard for me to deliver that. Cause that's just not how I really bet on it. Everyone in like the Discord, they love this PRP stuff, having a full fight card. It's fun, but it's just like I've never really had. That's kind of your forte. I've never really had much success doing that. And for me, when I do it for myself, I find a lot of the times it's like I'd rather parlay three props, like three methods of a fight ending together, rather than try to hit 12 fights. Anyway. We are just about out of time, but before we go on that topic, hit him with the PRP.
Hit him with the PRP. Funny enough, the first ever PRP I ever hit, Jeremy Stevens was on. It was a fight night in Brazil. He fought that Hani Jason. He was the underdog too, and he won. Those are the days you could get good value. It was a $3 bet, paid $900. It was a full card parlay. Back then, they only had 10 or 11 fights on the card, anyways. If you can bet $3 and win 900, you're not going to win it every time, but you're also not going to lose a marginal amount of money. It's that people saw, oh, he hit. And then, you know, fortunately enough, we hit back-to-back PRPs plus a Bellator PRP that it became, you'll notice people in the Discord sometimes, it's like some guy in the fourth line loses and they're like, all right, I'm done for the night. And it's like, well, what do you mean? Your entire night hinged on the seventh best guy? Like, because you only bet the PRP. You didn't bet it line by line, or you loaded up on 6 guys or 8 guys to hit and you didn't, you know, bet it the way it's supposed to be, which is your biggest investment is on that top line. And I don't know, people are free to bet however they want, but I think the reason people like it is because we're fight fans. We want to watch all 13 fights. So even if you have a $1 investment, it's a lottery ticket investment, it's still enjoyable. You can walk into a corner store and buy a lottery ticket. And then what do? They randomly generate the numbers for you. Then you sit at home and you're like, come on, number 37. Come on, number 37. Is number 37 going to come up? Who the hell knows? Paul Shaughnessy. But there was what's thrilling about that? You know, at least this, it's like you picked the guy, you did your research, you listened to some podcasts, you watched some tape, you interacted with some people online. You like this guy. Now you're going to put this guy on this ticket for a few bucks. It's, you know, no one to gamble within your reason, right? You don't want to be going broke on 12 fight parlays when you're supposed to be doing it for fun. But like I always say, if you hit it and it's 200 to 1, then you can keep betting it for low margins for the next young while. But anyways, let's hit them with the PRP. And now that we've spewed all this negativity, at least I have, and all this self-doubt and all my terrible day all withering down into this one show, let's go ahead and hit a PRP and turn the sad feelings into happy feelings, Paul. Khamzat Chimaev, Tatsuro Taira, Waldo Cortes-Acosta, Joaquin Buckley, King Bobby Green, Ateba Gautier, Yaroslav Amosov, Grant Dawson, Jared Gordon, Marco Tulio, Pat Sabatini, Baysangur, Susurkaev, and I guess Clayton Carpenter. But I could be persuaded off of that one. So stay tuned. But yeah, for the guys in the Discord, good luck to everybody. BKFC on Wednesday. There's a BFL on Thursday. There's a UAE Warriors on Friday, plus an ACA and a one championship. And then the UFC's on the Saturday. So, man, I try not to get hung up on, one guy went left when he should have gone right. And this guy zigged when he should have zagged. And this guy should have shot the takedown when he should have struck. Like, doesn't matter, man. You gotta get past it and move on to the next thing. So this will be a good card. I can feel it in my bones, Balsh, honesty. No more room for error. Like Shorzy would say, never lose again. So let's just go ahead and go with that, Paul.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't. On to the next. I mean, you just have to have, your feelings have to have a short shelf life in this game. Otherwise, you'll get eaten alive. Anyway, that is it for us this week. Hope you enjoy the show. For Cody, I'm Paul saying goodbye. Good luck.